pair of Chevrolets starting off. A long body S10 there, left-hand side, 85 body style.
Shiver, just shy of 88 miles an hour. Chris Duffett goes 756 at 78. A lot of killers down here, Steve. In these index categories, there's a lot of local trained killers in this 50 index stuff.
Absolutely. You know, right there is a prime example. They're in the right-hand lane all over the. This might be the guy I'm talking about right here on the right-hand side.
Nico.
It is him. Yeah. Watch this guy let out right here.
There it is.
Just stows it up there in the neutral.
Still runs under by a tenth and a half. Anthony Hodges goes 742 at 83. We need 550 index cars. 550 index cars to the lanes, please. 550 index. Bring them into the lanes. That is 1 and 2. 550 index lanes 1 and 2, please.
Brian, one of my favorite bracket type cars right here left-hand side. I just tell you, I love those things. When you get them to work, they all work the same way. Maybe not a 750 category, but do a little wheel stand and go straight as an air.
Little G-body wagon with that gold and blue plate. It looks almost like a Pennsylvania or maybe New York license plate.
It does. I do see that.
Probably
pair of white Chevrolets right here. Nova in the right-hand lane. Dalton Allen, 71 body style. You know, this is another body style over there in Nova. You used to get those pretty good price. Not anymore. Everybody knows what they're worth.
Wagon is either way quick or the Nova's way slow. Yeah, 670 at 103 for the wagon. Low ET of the round, which is not necessarily the moniker you want to have here, is Dalton Allen runs a 94 with a 5. So, yeah, Allen's car was slow, but the wagon was about a second too quick for his own good. Keith Bennett, 73 Challenger, 408 cubic inch, Borden Stroke, Chrysler small block. Brian Stovall, the 1985 Buick Regal. Bennett from Sundance, Wyoming.
Wow, that's a little ways right there to haul that Mopar. 85, I take either one of these cars, right? They're both worth a lot of money there. Big Regal in the right lane.
Goes 701 at 98. He's a half a tenth or half a second too quick. Brian Stovall goes 732 at 94 miles an hour.
How about left side right here? Brian John Halsey out of Safety Harbor, Florida. Look at the little baby bull horns in the front of that thing in the S10 left-hand lane. And I believe O'Toole rules over there on the right side. He was here last time at a Snowbirds in that 67 Cougar.
Yeah, really nice car. You don't see a whole lot of Cougars on the race. So that's a really nice car to put out here. It's Halsey and O'Toole pretty well locked together, because they were both very quick. 715 at 96, and O'Toole runs a 720. This is a function of the traction in the air we have out here right now. Terry Lockwood, Salina, Ohio for Lockwood, the 1969 Pontiac Firebird. Not sure if it has Pontiac power, but it's a cool car as it moves into 650 index.
Jack Thompson, left-hand side. Lithia, Florida, 56 Chevrolet Bel Air. How about that car right there, the shoebox on the left-hand side? Mike Carpenter, I'm sure, has seen this one already.
Yeah, the 56, the underrated of the three Tri-5s. Everybody loves 55s and 57s, 56s. People cut one way or the other. I really like the way they laid out the chrome and the side, like in the Bel Airs with the two-tone paint. I love that kind of spear that runs to the front of the car.
Definitely nothing wrong with that one right there. Beautiful race car. Firebird as well. Robin Roberts, you like that one going down the right-hand lane.
625 at $1.07 for Lockwood. Thompson 634, and again, these are good racers that are a 10th plus under, because they're going, my density altitude meter has never been this low at this racetrack before.
Right. Scott Demme, left-hand side, Fort Pierce, Florida, 1995 Cobra body style, the forward and left-hand lane, 351 cubic inches.
Roger Nimzik, right side, out of Langhorne, Pennsylvania. Langhorne was home to one of the most crazy circle tracks in American racing history, Langhorne Speedway. It was a perfectly circular 1-mile dirt oval, and they had a body count of that place in the dozens over the years. Crazy. An 8-mile drag strip running through the center of it they ran for years, and Nimzik's truck nice piece. And the Pennsylvanian goes 6:55 at 107.
Too quick left-hand side. Scott Demme 6:24 at 107. A lot of people too fast right here, Brian. Hit on it right there a lot. There's good air here, probably the best we're going to see, and maybe forever out here left-hand. I mean, today in this temperature and air, you see some really, really fast times.
This is your final call, 550. Final call, 550. And this is your first call for Outlaw 632. Outlaw 632, we need you to the staging lanes, please. Outlaw 632 this weekend, presented by Summit Racing and Rife Sensors. To the staging lanes, please.
Pair of Fords coming up next. Johnny Rush, that's how you say that, left-hand side. Chicora, Pennsylvania, another car, 2006 Mustang.
And Mike Morrison from Riverview, Florida. That is a 760 factory horsepower Mustang. Morrison goes 6:55 at 110. A really short sidewall slick on that car. Runs good.
Wow, all over there with a 55. A little slower left-hand side and a yellow Mustang 670 on that 50 index.
Johnny Jordan DeCosta out of Myakka, Florida, right side. Sponsored by Bradenton Performance, Nitrous Express, and Redline Oil. 18-year-old kid in 94 S10.
Left-hand lane is going to be Randy Holbrook out of Palmetto, Florida. 70 Nova, big block Chevrolet underneath the hood of that one.
Duet Pools, the sponsor. Better than Do Dry Pools.
Yeah, it makes sense, right?
So they're a lot more fun.
Do Dry, you're going to get your pool at Do Dry? No, you're not going to get a Do Dry pool.
So Jordan DeCosta completes his burnout, moves ahead. Once again, Summit Racing Equipment, Rife Sensors, Outlaw 632 to the lanes, please. Outlaw 632. Roll them on in this way. And big trouble for Randy Holbrook there. The car just kind of bounded its way off the starting line.
Yeah, that thing's hopping and jumping like something crazy over there left-hand side.
I'm wondering if the trans brake failed on the thing. As DeCosta goes 6:18.109, it almost seemed like when Holbrook went to put it up on the trans brake, it did not cooperate.
That's what it looked like as well, and a wasted run right there as he left before the tree was actually activated. No time.
So the 550 cars and 650 cars stacked up in the lanes. Fred Freed, 1986 Monte Carlo with a 540 rat motor in the right side.
All right, Jimmy Harrell, left side of Plant City, 87 Mustang. It looks like a grudge car over there in the left lane.
We'll see if Freed can get a hold of the racetrack here. A little G-body shuffle going on out of Northport, Florida. All kinds of Kyle Hood scoop on both of these cars.
Oh, yeah, they got their money's worth on those cows. Uh-oh. Blows the tires off left-hand side, Harrell does.
Freed stuck into the racetrack, runs 6:41 at 110 miles an hour, and Harrell, after spinning the tires and pedaling, goes at 8:29 at a highway-friendly 76 miles an hour. Kevin Brewington, Palmetto, Florida, 88, third-gen Camaro. Tried and true, 383-inch small block Chevy combination.
Frank Salvilio out of Florida, 78 Malibu left-hand side. Looks like a early version of Mickey's old Malibu there left-hand. 427 cubic inches.
Kevin Brewington goes 640 at 104 miles an hour. He's the better of the two. He's only a tenth under.
Yeah, 630 left-hand side for Frank. A little too quick as well. Lee Neal out of Orlando, or Oakland Park, I'm sorry, Florida, left-hand side. 96 S10, good-looking truck left lane.
John Marconi has had this Corvette for years. He actually found this car in a barn, and it has a fresh coat of paint on it, and it looks absolutely spectacular. He kept the kind of retro look. It was unpainted kind of from the nose forward, and man, that thing is just as cool as it ever was, even more so. Unfortunately for Marconi, the run did not go the way he wanted. The car started to move to the center, and he is going to coast it through 9:20 at 58.
Lee Neal definitely playing a little throttle game down there to try to get on that 650 index. Missed it a little bit, 67 at 84 miles an hour. Look how low those mile an hours are.
That's Bill Stepp on the right side, 1981 Oldsmobile Cutlass, 502 cubic inch. Likely a Chevrolet Performance crate motor under the hood.
Left lane, Kirk Sandry out of Parrish, Florida, 69 Nova. Small block Chevrolet over here in the left lane.
Sandry rocking the M&M transmission logo on his hood scoop. Sandry's a really solid racer, a guy who's always going rounds at this place. We'll see how he deals with the temperature. Stepp just crushed the tree, 008 green. Both cars run identical 642s.
Oh, wow, look at that.
Little Ford Falcon right side rolling up. Bright orange paint. Some ghost flames coming off the nose.
You don't see too many of those out there in the right-hand lane, a Falcon like that. Got a big, the Mopar left-hand side, a Merciless Mopar. That one's got a heck of a wrap or so on it. Starter saying, hey, man, take your time and put them back.
Other than Jamie firing up a flare gun, I'm not sure what else he could have done to get those guys to calm down for a second.
Man, they're looking dead down the finish line. They're ready to go.
It's John Nowak on the right side out of Venice, Florida. He's up here in the 1964 Falcon, 445-inch Ford small block under the hood here for Nowak.
445 in today's world, Brian, that's like a straight six, right? Aaron Cole, left side out of Cape Coral, Florida, 73 CUDA, 440 cubic inches.
John Nowak going to power through the top end, goes a 684. Cole had the door halfway open. 711 with a breeze.
Yeah, 102 miles an hour. No good there, 711 on that 650 index.
Scott Travers, right-hand side of the rag strip. Travers coming up in his beautiful 1971 Vega in that really deep kind of midnight blue paint.
I remember last time here, the first series race, the Snowbirds, a lot of Vegas were out here. 69 Camaro, left-hand lane out of Fort Lauderdale. Belongs to Wade Gullett, 454 cubic inches. The Chevrolet power there in that 69 Camaro.
Once again, Outlaw 632. Outlaw 632 to the lanes, please. Outlaw 632, we'd like you in the lanes. We're going to prep the racetrack following our index cars, which we are depleting from the lanes pair by pair.
Whoa! Well, to take out the cones and the tree right there, Wade did. That thing pulled dead right.
Travers was kind of the closest too so far. He went 648.6 trying to run away from Gullett, who was trying to run him over out there.
Yeah. Give him the old head fake. He didn't fall for it. He goes 48. Close to it, like you said. Pair of beautiful cars coming up next.
Pat Nanny in this Petty Blue 2000 Dodge Dakota was a 650 index winner at the 2024 U.S. Street Nationals. So Nanny's going to try to repeat that performance. That's a 378 cubic inch version of a Chrysler small block in the nose.
Vic Singer Jr., left-hand side, out of Summerfield, Florida. What a beautiful Monza that is. 1980 body style. 383. He's going to zing this one up.
So Nanny goes a 680 at 77 miles an hour.
Left-hand side, Singer Jr. doesn't miss it by much. 647 with a 9. and 96 miles an hour.
We were just joking up here. It looked like he ran down the racetrack with the plug still in the hood scoop, but that might have actually been the right move this morning. It's like running a choke.
Yeah, he didn't miss it by much. I guess he just needs to block off the header, slam some potatoes down in the headers right there. Then he'll get there.
So we are touching up the racetrack here. Of course, this thing's been beat on and beat up by Mother Nature, and our track staff, Wade Rich and the rest, are going to be banging on this starting line, banging on this surface to make sure it is prepped up to the nines. Rhett Gardner tuned in from the wilds of Epping, New Hampshire.
I tell you, you guys got a good one with Rhett.
He's awesome, man. He has done incredible work at New England Dragway. He's really breathed incredible energy and professionalism and life into the place.
Well, South Carolina didn't want to let him go, but you got a good one. And we miss you, Rhett. Miss seeing you, Rhett, and your beautiful wife. Hope to see you at some point in our paths cross again.
Well, it's interesting, Steve, as we're watching these cars, and when you watch a drag race, you can learn something from everything that goes down the racetrack. And the fact that we really haven't seen anybody other than guys that have had to pedal their cars be over the
little bit all week they've been fighting, but I'm sure they're going to get there and get a great surface to see the performance they're going to throw at it a little later.
Yeah, this thing's like a cast iron skill, man. It's going to kind of season itself up as we get a lot of traffic down it today, and the maintenance that they do on a week-to-week basis is what's going to allow us to rebuild it into the perfectly billiard table flat and shiny surface that you expect, and that's just going to be part of the process here today. So if you're hungry or thirsty, or you need some liquid warmth, we got you handled. Concession stands are open. Pulled pork empanadas are flying out of there. And the calzonata, which is now a creation of Bradenton Motorsports Park. An empanada with sausage, mozzarella, and marinara. Also, the hot chocolate is flowing like wine down there.
Man, I tell you what, that sausage, mozzarella, and marinara sounds pretty good, doesn't it? But I don't know if it sounds as good as the hot chocolate they have down there.
Yeah, that stuff's gold this morning.
Right? Yeah, you should sell out. You should sell out right now just from those people here saying we got hot chocolate concession stand. Of course, right here, tower side in between the bleachers. You can see it. And you can go up there and get you something hot to eat and hot to drink. And get ready to see some of the fastest Pro Mods in the history of Pro Mod right here coming up, along with these other great classes. Outlaw 632, one of my favorite classes. Really cool. A lot of cars, or a lot of racers now want to run this Outlaw 632, right?
Yeah, it was a class that was effectively born here about 20 years ago, and it's been really interesting to watch it evolve into what it is today. I mean, it was mostly back in the day, back half style cars. You know, they were pretty basic, or older Pro Street cars are in there. And Ken Cartuccio and Jamie Miller, a couple of those guys were the ones that really started to, I think, move it ahead. Cartuccio had this orange 69 Camaro that was a real dominating car in the class. And then they decided to run radials on the thing one time, and everyone kind of laughed at him. And they were laughing in the end, as they tend to do.
Right.
And we look out there now, and the amount of purpose-built cars, places like Chassis Engineering and other chassis builders are making specifically for Outlaw 632. It's great because it never really was a class that people built specific cars for, and it's evolved itself into that. Competition's off the charts.
Yeah, they're extremely fast and getting faster and faster, just like any other of the heads-up index categories. 632, I noticed, years ago when, how you just said it originated here in the Florida area, because when it started in PDRA and I started seeing it in PDRA, it was all these Florida cars.
Yeah.
They were like dominating Florida cars, and the Boss and all those guys. And then, so now to see it broaden out and all over the country now, people, it's really exciting to see racers catch on and want to run that category. Yeah,
the Voss guys were doing it with a small block for a while, because you don't have to run a 632 in that class. You can run a flyweight car with a small motor in it, and that was their approach, which was successful, which is what a lot of the stuff those guys have ever done, whether it's non-motor pro stock stuff or this style of racing, and the Enslin family and a bunch of others that have been real stalwarts in it over the years. It's going to be great to see them all on the racetrack in just a little while.
And of course, we got Outlaw Pro Mod is out there. Ton of those cars we talked about. Ultra Street is on the schedule for today. Limited drag radial. Pro 275. These are exciting to watch too. Pro 275 cars. And our X 275. A lot of cars on the schedule today.
Yeah, Pro 275 was obviously a class that came along during the Radio vs. the World kind of heyday, and it was a place where a lot of RVW cars that were maybe getting outpaced as the chassis technology really moved along in the class. And lo and behold, as time has played out, Pro 275 has become really the kind of highest level of radial drag racing that's out there in terms of raw performance. And those cars are as quick to a degree, for the large degree, as what RVW cars were for a very long time.
Very fast, very fun to watch. The technology has changed in that 275 tire as well, man. It's such a smooth running tire. When you get those things hooked up and launched, man, it's over with.
Yeah, when it works real good, and that's the most fun part of those classes for me is always just watching the suspensions work on those cars, because they operate in a completely different principle than we watch a Pro Mod car typically operate in, and some of that technology is starting to bleed its way back into the big tire style drag racing. So all this stuff feeds on itself. It doesn't seem like those two classes would have anything in common, but the technology tends to work back and forth. Something that would, quote, never work with a big tire that will, quote, only work with a small tire. The real smart chassis guys will say, yeah, they'll wink at you. Oh, yeah, you're right about that. That'll never, ever work. We're definitely not doing anything like that on our car ever, yeah.
Here we go on our 550 index. Brian, I believe it's a little cool over there on the right side.
Yeah, Jerry Norton rolling up here in his Roadster on the right side. Norton's a guy who won the 550 Index Class a year ago at this race. A 555 big block in the nose of that car. And the coolest part about it, he still has the Ford motor meter on the front of it where it would be on the cowl there.
Oh, that is cool. Left-hand side, Kerry Siggety out of Bradenton right here, 88
Nice.
Thunderbird. Look at the wheels up right there. That long wheelbase Thunderbird. A lot of racers love them. There's a couple of great-looking Thunderbirds here.
Siggety goes 5:51.5 at 120 miles an hour. That is the closest run of any index category we've seen so far. And Norton was right hot on his heels, a 52.7 at 125.
We just talked about it. They're dead on. They come out of the box and get there. Left-hand side going to be David Wolfen Sr., Little Egg Harbor, New Jersey, a Jersey guy. Forget about it. 85 Corvette, left-hand side, 434. That looks like a grudge car, doesn't it?
Yeah, J.D. Carty, the Seminole, Florida-based 2007 Mustang that's got a nose job by choice or by repair over the course of the offseason. And he is way out on Wolfen, and he's pedaling the thing. He goes a 568, but
Whoa.
How about that?
Left-hand side, dead 9. 50 with a 9 for David Wolfen. Takes him to number 1 spot right there. 2 more beautiful race cars coming up next. How about the Cadillac? That's not your daddy's caddy there, left-hand side.
So Perkins right side, 1967 Chevy 2Nova, beautiful car, 548-inch motor. Perkins is a hitter.
I saw this one when I came in there, sitting right down here on the pit side. What a beautiful Chevy 2 that is over there.
And the Vengeance Racing CTSV, LSA Power over here on the left side. Good work at suspension for the Cadillac, too. It planted the tire, you saw the nose come up, and Perkins takes the big tire car through a 55.5 at 134.
551 left-hand side for the Vengeance Racing Cadillac there. Vengeance Racing, shout out to them. Out of Georgia, great company to build some really stout cars at 129 miles an hour for that caddy.
Joe Miro from Fort Erie, Canada, the 1970 Camaro 565. That is a gorgeous, really gorgeous second-gen Camaro.
Beautiful car over there, you're right. Gary Varney, right here in the Bob Glidden tribute car, that 85
That is the car.
Thunderbird 557. What a beautiful car that is.
It's the real car.
It's the real car.
That is the real Bob Glidden.
So no tribute, that's it.
That's it.
Wow.
With Ford proper big block power, a 557 big block in the nose. Not running the Hemi that Glidden would have had in the back of the day, but yeah, that's the real car.
Woo, nice wheels up right there for Varney. What a beautiful hit. Issues right side. How about Varney goes 552 at 126.
Yeah, Murrow left the starting line and the suspension. I don't know if it topped the shocks out or what, but it started to work the tire just before the Christmas tree, so he pedaled it. Goes through a 789 at 115. Got a lot of Canadian racers down here in all categories this weekend. Great to have them. Ross Niedemoller right side out of St. Petersburg, Florida, the 1998 Mustang.
Classic Ford versus Chevrolet matchup right here. Sal Belmo out of Howell, New Jersey. Another New Jersey car, 79 Camaro. You know, this is another year, Brian, that, you know, the first gen, of course, everybody loved them. The second gen, everybody loves them. And now these are highly sought after as well, 79 body style.
Yeah, what I like about Belmo's car is the fact that he's got to paint it up like a modern Copo with the kind of call out on the hood and the Chevrolet Performance decal and graphic on the rear quarter. That's a neat kind of mashup. And for Niedermoller, 363-inch Windsor style, likely Ford Performance base small block in there. Nothing doing for Ross. He spun the tires.
538. Sal left-hand side a little too quick there, 129.
Nobody's really been running the trio. We've had a couple of decent reaction times, but nobody's really killing it out here. Scotty Thomason, the Tipton Construction, Kelly's Engine Service, 1963 Corvette out of Paris, Tennessee.
Todd Abrams, left-hand side, beautiful. Monte Carlo, 70 Monte Carlo, big body, left-hand lane out of West Palm Beach, Florida. 582 cubic inches.
Fun fact to know and share, the largest area by square inches hood ever put on a Chevrolet car, the 1970 and 71 Monte Carlos.
Aircraft carrier.
Now you know. Abrams like, oh man, he kind of double stepped it in. The thing's all wiggling around there mid-track as Thomason goes a 5:44.5 at $127.
Yeah, issues left-hand side for Abrams. He finally aborts that run at 54 miles an hour.
Cannon Bobo and Eric Walkup coming up right now. It's Walkup, the 1964 Chevy 2, just under 600 cubic inches.
Cannon Bobo, how about that name right there, left-hand side? Out of Venice, Florida, 2017 Roadster, the Ford product, left-hand lane, 509 cubic inches.
And Walkup's a guy who was raced here for many years, always a beautiful equipment, and this Chevy 2's been his weapon of choice for several years now. Very consistent race car. I've watched this guy go rounds almost every time I've ever been down at this racetrack. Walkup's car busted the tire loose when he let go of the trans brake button. He goes 16 on the tree, spinning the tires, goes to 632 at 122.
Bobo with a great hit right there, 554 with a 9, 122 miles an hour, was 039 down low.
And so if you're a fan of drag and drive, you know this guy. This car has been driven on Drag Week, Rocky Mountain Race Week, Sick Week multiple times. Rovic, he goes by over here, 1967 Olds, 560-inch proper Olds engine.
Look at that thing, man. I tell you, it doesn't look like your typical race car, right? It looks like something back in the day would deliver your newspapers or something, but I guarantee it hauls the mail.
And it's a street car driven thousands and thousands of miles, and he might have to drive back and pull his crew guy off the starting line.
Got him, man.
And how about the little Pinto right side? Yeah. The starting line, lightweight little car out there.
I think it's gone over there.
543, 127. Rovic goes a 587, 118 miles an hour. He shoots a lot of nitrous through that thing. He's from White Horses, and White Horses YT. We see a lot of designations of people and states and places, but YT is one you're very rarely going to see. Yukon Territory.
I would have never got that one. Yeah. I would have butchered that one, you know.
Joe Scharf, 13 model year Copo. The guy who claims to be coached by both Matt Bell and Larry Salvatore. Those are two good guys to get you coached up in your racing career. This will be a late model LS7 style 427 power plant, this 13 model year car, meaning the rectangle port style cylinder heads.
Good looking hit right there.
Yeah, 558, 124. He's just going to want to tear the top of the time slip off before he shows his coaches. Other than that, looking good.
Yeah, he might get some advice there when he
gets some coaching. He'll get some coaching, all right.
Got some coaching to do there. Still left.
Carl Mitchell here from Miami, the 1978 Mercury Zephyr. Multiple generations of the Mitchell family racing here at BMP on a season-to-season basis. Mitchell, his son Cyril, a junior dragster competitor. Carl's got a 522-inch Ford big block in his Merc.
It's cool to see that Zephyr, though. That's a really slick car over there on the right-hand lane. It was out here the last race of the Snowbirds as well. I like it. Really sharp-looking car.
If you're a fan of your early door slammer history, you remember back in the days of Animal Jim Furyk and the Mammoth Mercury he ran. That car would leave the starting line all twisted up and everything.
And hair flying out of the back of that helmet.
Right.
A little bit of tire spin right there at the hit.
593, $126, definitely gave some back early. Now we're talking. You got a pair of them. So you got the little pink pony car over here. That's Saray Denny, who is Bill Denny's daughter. Now, Bill Denny's car is one of my favorite drag cars in the entire country. It's a 78 Pinto, 374 cubic inch small block, and it's got a Lenko in it. So he wings this thing up to the moon, sidesteps the clutch, and grabs those Lenko levers. Little Pink Pony is a kind of a tribute throwback to Bunny Burkett's former Pro Stock Pinto back in the 70s.
I think did we just say this is our third Pinto we have seen? What are the odds right here?
We got the last three left in the country.
Got the last three right there. Pretty cool. How about this right here? That'd be a great photo of these two.
Ooh, man. Denny's car shook the tire hard when he let the clutch out. Meanwhile, Saray is going to go 5.66.5. But yeah, Bill Denny got his dentures knocked out on that one.
Absolutely, I thought he could rip the rear end out of that one.
Oh. So you can see the equipment has rolled out on the racetrack. Going to do a scrape. Going to do a little rebuild here over this first, let's call it 60, 80 feet of the racetrack. This is a perfect time to grab yourself a cup of hot chocolate. Grab yourself a calzonata, an empanada, a little pulled pork in the empanada, some sausage, mozzarella, and marinara in the calzonata. The next category we have will be Summit Racing Equipment, Rife Sensors Outlaw 632, but it's going to be a minute as we got our scraper out. We're going to do a nice little rebuild here in our early part of the racetrack. Nice kickoff to the day with our index category runs. Everybody's making horsepower.
Brian, I'm going to ask you a few things here. You know, I'm going to do it on a microphone here, things I've thought about before to ask you, and I'm sure the fans would love to know this year. Your regular Fox broadcasting stuff, how much of that during the season occupies your from race to race? Like how much, like let's say you're at Z-Max and then you just finished that race and now you're going to go wherever it's next on the schedule. You could probably name it, but let's just say it's Norwalk.
Sure.
How much of your preparation in the next 2 weeks is dedicated to that next race?
Yeah, I mean, it's, you know, to knock on wood, thankfully, at least to this point in my life, it's my full-time job. So it is, you know, it is a full-time job in that sense. And, you know, in the off season, we continue to do different work. But yeah, during the race season, it's, we make our notes and collect our stats and update everything. And then I build some stuff that I use race to race. I build, we call them boards or sheets that I have kind of on each driver and different things that have either happened the race before or we're looking to maybe have happen the next race. It's just, yeah, it's a maintenance preparation thing. It's a homework based occupation. So yeah. As you well know, you've done this long enough. You can show up and walk in with nothing, or you can show up and walk in kind of armed to the teeth with information. And I like to do the second part.
Well, you're not giving yourself enough credit. Like you reel off. You've already done it. You reel off a bunch of stuff you already know, and I have to read it. Like I have to write the notes down that I may have been there and saw it, but I still have a note to read off of it to remember that. That's what happens when you get old. Whatever. But I mean, I don't mind doing that. That's my routine. But let me ask you this: where and when, first time ever, you were on a microphone in a tower to announce a race?
So the first ever stuff I ever did was back in college, and it was actually SCCA road racing at the time. I wasn't even really that into road racing, but I was in a motorsports club in college that we had a race car that we would go and race. So we raced at Lime Rock and New Hampshire International Speedway. We went out to Watkins Glen, New York, Nelson Ledges, all these different road courses. And they needed a announcer for the New England region races, and my buddies were like, oh, you should do this. And I always kind of had started at that point thinking, man, I maybe was thinking about doing it at drag racing, but it gave me a lot of confidence after I'd done it a few times and was absolutely horrible at it. And I worked my way into being an okay road race announcer, but my first time ever in a drag race announcing tower to call races was in 1999 at Lebanon Valley Dragway in New York. I was going to school at UMass. Lebanon Valley was an hour from UMass, and so I talked to this guy, Glenn Groh, ran the track at the time, and I'm like, hey, you know, I'm this road racing announcer guy, but I really like drag racing, and I'd love to give it a shot. And so I went in there on a Saturday and did a test and tune day with a guy, and I started working there when I was in school on Saturdays and Sundays, and then when I went home for the summer, I was bracket racing with my dad at Epping, and then I started announcing at Epping. And then when I went back to school, I would do early in the weekends at the Valley and then drive over and sleep in the tower at Epping over the weekend.
I heard about that.
Yeah,
I've actually heard about that one. And it's cool to hear that, how you got started. And, you know, road racing is not that easy to announce because
multiple classes on the track at the same time, too.
Yeah, so that's a little difficult. It's busy, and, you know, and there's a lot of turns and stuff happening that you have to keep your eye on, you know, to talk about it. So it's not easy.
The first one I did, and, you know, it's one of those things where you kind of sometimes you just know that you know you're not good at something, but you like doing it. And we got done with the first weekend, and the guy who ran New Hampshire International Speedway at the time, his first name was Jerry, and he came up and he said, "You got 5 minutes?" I said, "Yeah." I sat down and he said, "I like your enthusiasm." And I thought, uh-oh. And he said, but you got no idea what the hell you're doing. I said, you're right. And I was calling the cars by the numbers. He's like, first off, this ain't stock car racing. We don't go by the numbers. But it was great because he handed me the SCCA rule book, and he's like, start here. And everybody was really cool and kind, and that was where I got some experience to get me the confidence to call a drag strip, to talk about something that I knew half of something about. And it's a really full circle story, but the first Saturday I ever did at Lebanon, I was working with this guy, and his name was Gary or something like that, and I'll never forget it because it was my first day. It's kind of burned in my memory, but in 2018, at the end of that season, when they told me I was going to go into the Fox booth in 2019, I was at the NHRA Finals. And at the time, we ran our Summit Racing Equipment Bracket Championship in Pomona, as opposed to now we do it in Vegas. And there was a guy named Nelson Belot from Lebanon Valley who had qualified. So they give you tow money. He towed his car all the way out there to run for it. And I always like to go and just say hey to the racers, congratulate him for making it that far. It's like a big accomplishment, right? So I'm walking over to Nelson's trailer, and I see this guy sitting there. And I hadn't seen this guy since that day. I had not seen him in literally 20 years. And I'm walking up to him, and he starts smiling, and I was like, you're the guy. My very first day ever at a drag strip, you're the guy that I announced with. And he was there. And I thought we had a really good conversation. It was cool. It was a really neat kind of full circle moment.
That is really cool. You know, my first time is kind of not as good. I mean, not as great of a story. I actually took a part-time job working, and I worked at staging lanes. They hired me to work. And I like that more because here in this job, you know this, you're on a microphone, you talk to hundreds, thousands, now with TV, millions, right? But both of us have done that. But nobody talks back. Right? You know, and it's kind of a lonely life. You fly in.
It's a one-way conversation.
It's a one-way conversation. You fly in.
Well, they do talk back, but it's typically not.
Yes. Now they talk back on the internet. But anyway, you fly in by yourself, and you go to eat by yourself, you go to a room by yourself, whatever, and then rinse and repeat, right? So staging lanes, when you work the staging lanes, you're down there. They pull up, and you don't pull up and go straight. They stop and they get
they're
out,
putting
right?
their gear on.
So I get to know and got to talk, and I like talking to people when I'm out there. So that was kind of fun. But then there came an opportunity to announce there, and I started out at Roxborough Dragway.
Roxborough Dragway, North Carolina, right?
Yeah, Roxborough Motorsports Park. And shout out, Austin Welch is listening, and he's texting me. But shout out there. And when I first started, I freaking sucked at it.
Yeah, of course, everybody does.
I was not good, and it took me a while to learn and get a rhythm and a pattern and know what they wanted. Like I wouldn't. You know how the bracket racers, they want every single number, right?
Yeah.
They don't care about car number or whatever. They want to know everything. So it took me a while to learn that, but and here we stand. So it's pretty cool. Yeah,
it is. No, it's everybody's got their process and journey, but ultimately it's everybody's first day is it cuts one way or the other. Because I mean, if I had hated it and doing that first road race, I probably would have never done it again. If anybody had just totally if that guy had come up there and just tore me to pieces, I probably would have been like, well, I guess this ain't for me. But when somebody pats it back, say, hey, listen.
It's all about feel. And this car, I love this car, but not when it hesitates. So I was looking for better performance. That's why I went with an Edelbrock AVS2 carburetor. No hesitation. The Edelbrock warranty. Great throttle response. Now when I punch it, it moves. Edelbrock, charge forward.
We drive with performance. We drive passion, a background in drag racing, and a future in all forms of motorsports. Because success in one sport isn't enough. Pushing ourselves to be the best, climbing every mountain, topping every peak, until you see Fuel Tech everywhere.
Unleash your engine with Adrenaline Racing Oil's 100% PAO-based oil. The Adrenaline R Series is designed to unlock extra horsepower, free up your engine to perform its best. Top-performing oils with FR3 nanocarbon technology, the same friction reducer used by top racers, designed for any engine. Lab-formulated, dyno-tested, track-proven. Hot Shot Secret, powered by science.
All right, Brian, another question for you. Out of your travel, because I have one, I get asked this sometimes. Now somebody's going to be mad at you. I'm going to put you in the spot here. Somebody's going to question you about this when you go to another track. Favorite track in the country?
New England Dragway. New England Dragway.
Okay, I know you.
End of story.
And the end of story?
Easiest question.
Why is it your favorite? Because that's where you started, or
listen, I owe that place my entire life. I literally owe that place my life. That's its bottom line. End of story. Nothing that has ever come of me would ever have happened without that place. So there is no other answer, and it's not even just being a stroke and being a homer. It's just there's no other answer I'd ever give. I love a lot of racetracks. I mean, there are places like Bradenton, Minnesota, incredible place. Sonoma, California, wildly beautiful place. All those places are great, but none of them, like when I walk into the gate at that place, none of them make my heart beat the way that is.
It's a great answer, Dan. I love it. That's cool. And I met some of the staff here.
Listen, they got the best group of people they've had in forever working up there. Great top to bottom. I just hosted the season, championship awards banquet there a week or two ago, and it was just really fantastic to catch up with people that you go from being there 3-4 days a week for a decade plus, and now they're basically once a year. But now that my son's got their driver's licenses, now we'll be up there testing 2-night action this summer when I'm home between races. So,
Yeah, that's a great story.
turn that AC off back here, please. We have a good time, man. If you can't have fun, why did we do it, right? Getting that helmet right, put a little anti-fog on it. Look. Yeah, see, don't even fog up. And that's ice cold, baby, ice cold. You see how I operate? Let me show you how I operate. Watch this. Let me show you. Oh, see that? That hurt. No. Nothing there. But we joke all the time. We have fun.
He makes my job easy, that's for sure.
We're trying to reach America. America is hard to get. We're just trying to bring them to the sport of drag racing. If you have never been, you need to come out, because this is what we do all the time on the daily. It's like action. Wham! Right at you, baby. Right at you. 335 plus mile an hour. You see this? You know why ain't no wrinkles here? Because when you pull 6 G's in a straight line, it keeps it flat, flush, and tight and right. Shoot, if you know, now you know. I tell people I'm the best kept secret. I'm chocolate, like in a chocolate bar. If you don't know, now you know. If you ever open one, then chocolate never look good. It always looks good, baby. Who ran the 82 next side by side with?
These guys are running strong here the last month.
Thousandths of a second, 372.1. Austin, you've done it all and won it all. This is the second time I won this 15 grand. The inch-off round goes to 4.
Well, there's an improvement for scaling. We went 3 flat, track ate us up a little bit, 846, 213, 3. Get after a little bit better, so we're trying to run a high 60, but the track's just so good, you gotta get after it, so that's all right. Tomorrow's gonna be hot. Our main goal is go out there, you know, stay in the top 8 is what we're trying to do. So that's it. Run's done. We'll keep it rolling, keep it reeling. Try to make it happen.
Oh, this is supposed to run adjustment.
Up next, once we get our tune-up on the racetrack completed here in just a few minutes, we'll give you an update.
Don't forget about the concession stands, folks. Now's a great time. Get on over there and get you something hot to eat and hot to drink. They got hot chocolate, the concession stands, the empanadas, there's several different styles of flavors over there. Great stuff at the concession stand. Go see them.
Drag racing, and we are kicking off the 2025 U.S. Street Nationals with none other than the Snowbird champ, Mr. Kai Kelly, and you got a group of people around. You got stars over here, Billy Stockland. So I mean, what's going on? You just win an event, and they just start coming out of the woodwork.
I don't know, man. Billy Stockland in my pits. That's cool. Growing up as a kid, I always thought Billy Stockland was like the baddest dude ever. So he's here. He's because he's bored, not because we asked him to come. He just wanted to come. Him and Jeff Pierce is really close. You know, he from what I understand, him and Jeff, you know, he kind of molded Jeff into what he is. So I think I mean, success is there. Like, I got every opportunity in the world to do really good. So I'm excited about it.
Well, now folks at home can see behind us, Kai, you brought not one car, but 2 cars to the U.S. Street Nationals. Let's talk about your second car in the pits this weekend.
So all the stink of Big Jake's race, you know, the bear shit only, 200,000 to win. I keep seeing that. I keep seeing Justin Swanstrom win it. And I feel like if he can do good at it, I can too. So no stab to Justin, but I mean, you know, I just don't feel like they're a better team than we are. So I had David Gates. He was going to drive it. Work got crazy. He kind of stood me up. I understood, but I'm still not driving it. I got Daniel Pochard here. He's going to drive the car for me. So
you just had to bring something else. You're just never busy enough. I mean, winning the Snowbirds, being all over media, working on trying to drive other Pro Mod cars in other series, and you just had to bring something else out.
Yeah, man. Well, I don't know if people that follow me seen I drove a turbo car a while back, and that's Daniel and Craig's car, so kind of returning the favor to them too, all while having a good driver in my car and seeing how fast it'd go, you know. I really never stood behind any of my cars, so I think it'd be cool.
All right, let's talk about all of the stuff. All that's great. Let's talk about now. Weather conditions. You do have Jeff Pierce. You do have Billy Stockland over here. We didn't get the test. I think you got to make some laps on Monday, but now the weather's changed. Racetrack hasn't had a race car on it in 3 days. You know what you went to win the Snowbirds. What are we going to go out here during Q1, knowing that you've lost some testing and lost some qualifying sessions? What's the number on the board for Kai Kelly?
So my one and only test pass I made in my car, it went the left, went straight to the wall. So did go 9, 10, 60 foot straight out of the trailer. So I mean, it's there. We just got to make it go straight. And it was a deal where I put a new crank in the motor. I don't know if I was drinking beer that night or what, but I didn't have the cam in right. So the car made stupid amount of power. We fixed it, and it shouldn't do that no more. But I'm good with it, man. If you got a cold racetrack, a shitty racetrack, any of that, that's right in my wheelhouse. Like, I'm ready to go out there and drive the hell out of that car. They better not live, because I'm not.
Let's talk about your partners that have decided to show up, most famously Murder Nova. What do you think about these other street outlaw guys coming over here now that they've seen what you've been able to accomplish? Are they coattail riding, or are they just trying to be competitive and make a little money?
Yeah, I think it's cool, man. Coattail riding, no, not really. He's one of the first guys like I was, you know. They actually started it, and then I come in like a season later. So he's here because he likes drag racing, the same reason I showed up the first time. And I think it's going to be a good time, and it's another chance to show everybody that we're not dumbasses.
Well, I'm pretty sure that the dumbass rule has been out the window after your performance during Snowbirds. I think that's been put to bed. I don't think we have to worry about hearing that anymore, except out of the keyboard warriors, and they don't know anything anyway. What else is on Kai Kelly's plate moving into 2025? The phrase that winning the Snowbirds was life-changing to you. I don't know. I heard you make a comment about your kids, your family, and things of that nature being life-changing for you. But as far as race cars and professionalism, running race cars, what's the plan for 2025?
I'm going to be honest, man. I'm going to run this race and the next one. Then I really don't have a plan after that. I'm tired of racing out of my pocket for everything. So, honestly, I'm going to park those cars till I get some help. If I don't get some help, I'm going to sell them and go small tire, no prep racing. That's the truth. It costs a lot of money, man.
Well, hold on. I mean, because, you know, we might not reach millions and millions of people, but we might reach somebody that might want to help out Kai Kelly. How do they need to get in touch with Kai Kelly?
It's all over my social media. All my emails are there. You can message me there. My trailer business, Field South. There's phone number. My phone number's on it. Just give me a call. Don't ask me about your 85 Mustang with a 350 in it, but if you want to call and talk business, I'm ready.
Folks, do not let Kai Kelly sit on the sidelines for the rest of 2025. You heard him. Reach out. It's Flo Drag Racing US Street. He's going to see if he can go back-to-back as Q1 gets started shortly.
We need you lanes. It'll be Sean Ellington, Murder Nova Sean, Blake Housley, Lyle Barnett, Keith Haney. That's already high entertainment. Louis Ouimet, Scott Wildgust, and then it'll be Tim Dutton and Eric LaFerrier. Battle of the New Englanders. Dutton's a New Hampshire guy, and LaFerrier comes from Rhode Island.
Oh, does he?
The Chowderheads.
I didn't know. I know he has that little wasabi car that's so fast.
Yeah,
know, right?
Yeah. Dewey Bias car. The Chowderhead's going to throw down here round one. So once again, Josh Vettel, Murder Nova Sean, Blake Housley, Lyle Barnett, Keith Haney, Louis Ouimet, Scott Wildgus, Tim Dunn, and Eric LaFeria. Those are our first 5 pairs of M&M Transmission Outlaw Pro Mod presented by Fuel Tech and PJS Racing. To the staging lanes, please.
Speaking of Dutton, shout out Blake Dutton. Happy birthday. He's on the grounds today. Happy birthday to Blake.
Oh, rocking a Pro Mod with Dad. That is a pretty solid birthday. And yes, as Mike Washington just radioed up, like a guy calling in for air support from Nam, he was just telling us, guys, that's a grudge race. Barnett and Haney, of course it's a grudge race, Mike. We didn't have to tell us, we knew. What else would it be? It's not the happy Kumbaya race. That is definitely a grudge race. Yeah, Barnett and Haney.
Oh yeah, 2 power mouths right there racing on each other.
Barnett Cage, you see the video this is what a rain delay will do to a man. I don't know if you saw this thing. What depths will a drag racer go during the rain? Lyle Barnett was served and did consume fajitas. Now it was after he dumped water all over them to make the sizzling stop.
Oh, that's right. He's a fajita hater. I forgot about that.
He did. He shoved some of it down his gullet, and the next thing you know, he started grabbing tortillas and building himself some fajitas. So I guess. Everybody can change, man. Everybody can change.
He conformed.
He did. He conformed.
Yeah. Hey, we still need those cars moved. Now listen up. Behind the water box, up against the fence, the UPR trailer is.
We are here at the U.S. Street Nationals Bradenton Motorsports Park, race 2 of the Winter Series here. Now we've got a fresh face coming into the Winter Series. We're going to get with you here in a second because today she's the star of the show. But Tommy Franklin, I have got to ask you, when was the last time you have been at a racetrack and were not participating?
It's been a long time. Last season, not this past season, the year before, I had to sit out a race and Buddy Perkins drove my car, so I stood behind that one. But I'm not saying I'm a big fan of it. I need my car here for the next event.
But this one's a little bit different. This one's not only great for y'all's team, as we're going to talk with Amber about her transition into Pro Mod, but as a dad here coming in, forget that race car driver hat. This is a dad hat. Watching your daughter, multi-time world champion, stepping up into now your category. This weekend you get to support her, then we're going to be competing against each other. What's that transition been like?
Yeah, I think she's coming after me. I said, it's the way I see this. But so this week I'll support her. Next race, game on. But no, it's really cool. That's what we do. We come out here, we do this as a family. It's been something that Amber's chased forever, wanting to do this. So really cool to go out here and do it. The nerves on the starting line, whew, I've never felt that inside the car. So it's fun, it's cool. I'm happy for her. I got every bit of faith in her out here as a driver. So that part of it's cool. And we're just going to go out here and have some fun and see if we can get this nitrous car down the track.
Now this is our first race running in the Pro Mod category, but we talked about it, Dawn and I talked about it this morning in the opener. If somebody's going to consider Amber Franklin a rookie or take her lightly this weekend, check your pulse. There is something wrong with you. But this is new. Same car as we talked about the other day on the Bradenton Motorsports Park content piece, but still a lot of differences. First things first, same question as your dad. You are the only one people are concentrating on this weekend that is very different from the Franklin camp.
Yeah, it's really different. It's nice having a slow pace, but it's really good. Just being able to focus and take my time, and that's been the big thing. And I'm thankful that my crew and my parents all have the support behind me and have just told me, when you're comfortable, you take laps as you want it, and we go from there. And we're here to have fun, like he said, and just make consistent laps. We want this nitrous car to be up front, that's for sure.
Now, what a race to come in and make a debut at, right? We've got 70 cars on property. Now we've got testing out of the window. Qualifying is going to be cut a little bit. This is one of the most cutthroat races that we will ever see. We had the quickest field at the Snowbird Outlaw Nationals. What goes into that? Like, hey, Dad, let's go race at the toughest race ever and make a debut.
Yeah, we wanted to come down. We were hoping for some warm weather. That didn't really happen, but that's okay. We're gonna make it work. And if we qualify, that's a win for us this weekend. We want to make good runs, and being on the biggest stage with competitors, coming from all different aspects. To be the best, you got to beat the best. So I want to race with everyone out there and try and get my name on that stake.
Listen, it's everybody here. We've already talked to Kai Kelly today with Team Street Outlaw. Now we've got Team PDRA covered here at the Winter Series race. Amber, good luck. I am so proud of you.
Thank you.
As we get to the final stages of this track refresh, we have called the first 5 pairs of Pro Modifieds in lanes. Josh Vettel, Sean Ellington, Blake Housley, that's a pair. Barnett Haney, that's a pair at a grudge race. Wilmette Wildgus, that's a pair. Dutton and LaFerrier, those are the first 5 pairs of Pro Mods and the only 5 pair we need to the staging lanes. We want to maintain some order down there and good traffic flow, so please don't head to the lanes before your pairing is called.
Reminder, we're broadcasting radio station 95.3 if you're out there somewhere away from a speaker or so. 95.3, 95.3. We'll get you tuned in right here at the tower. You hear Brian and I talk about a lot of stuff and a lot of nothing. 95.3.
And listen, Tucci's going to be coming in off the top rope at some point here somewhere. He's on his way from Chicago. He got out of his bulldozer few minutes ago. Maybe he's still in the bulldozer, who knows, but he's on his way.
He'll be ready to tag in and jump into the ring, right?
I mean, jump may be a lot.
Okay.
He's going to climb
Flop into the ring.
He's going to climb it. Sullivan's down there, Penny's down there. We get the cavalcade of stars. Get a look at this racetrack.
You know, we got to talk about that, Greg Sullivan's car. So, I think it's listed as a
48, 49 Merc, yeah.
But it's, it's Frankenstein.
Oh, sure.
Whatever it is, works 2 degrees. I think a lot of air. I'll talk about that later.
Yeah, that car is always, when it's on a good run, that thing always likes to live on its hind legs. So we'll be watching that for that in a little while. Yeah, a lot of the tuners going out there getting a look. Jim Salemi's out there, Ty Tutterow, and the rest of the tuning brigade. And as we talked about earlier, Steve, before we really got going here, it's we're going to split this race, kind of the responsibility. We're going to split this race in a couple different directions over a couple different days. Today and tomorrow, at least the first half of it, really fall under the auspices of the crew chiefs and how they can get a hold of this racetrack under these conditions. And then once we get into the rounds that begin with an E in front of them, the driver becomes the real critical part. And we can look no further than the winner of the Snowbird Outlaw Nationals, Kai Kelly, to talk about just how good you have to be in order to hang with this crowd. Kai was, at worst, I think 22 on race day, 13 and 14 lights back-to-back. So we've watched it over the years down here, and when you take a really, really good racetrack and you take a really, really tight rules package and put it together, assuming you can make it into the field, it's game on.
It is game on. And Al, mentioned this at our Snowbirds. He said, man, this is all going to come down. He's going to be so tight. It's going to come down to that reaction time. And it did in many, many matchups. And given what you just said, there are some real magicians on that steering wheel.
Yeah, look, you got Eric Anders in this field. You got Antron Brown in this field. You go down this list of incredible drivers from the dedicated door slammer ranks and people who are evolving their careers for him. Carolina kid. Right, Travis Harvey in here. And again, I don't want to confuse people and start blurting out names and have them leave their pit space, but you're right. One of the great moments in the NHRA season last year was when Travis Harvey came to the Carolina Nationals in the fall. And what was so cool about it to me was the racers knew who Travis Harvey was. Our NHRA, like the Pro Mod guys saw the Carolina kid show up. It's like, okay. But a lot of our fans that only follow that series were like, okay, who's this guy? And then it's just the fact that he came in there with such a great piece of equipment and lived up to all the billing. Right. He was exactly the guy you wanted him to be, the guy you expected him to be, and it was just jackhammering people round after round.
I think I can do this.
Well, we went been years ago. It was in Maple Grove. We was talking about it this morning. Track temperature's actually 46 degrees. Me and Brandon Slusher was sitting on the wall there. So how cool of a track you ever been on? So we're fixing to find out. 46 degrees right here. So we went down, but this is a little different situation. These tracks today, it's got lots of glue on them. I think the accident Monday kind of showed everybody that cold track temperatures with a lot of glue might be iffy.
Talked about that with Marcus and what happened. When that happens and you see that, what is that? How's that communication? You got a lot of drivers over here that you're consulting, you're responsible for on the experience base. How do you and Ty start to communicate with your team?
We just tell them, if you see anything or feel anything, just quit. It's easy to come back for the next round. You crash your car like Ricky Newman did, and it'll out the race. So, I don't think it's a driver issue. Driver's end result, he's the one that makes the last decision, so you just got to say, hey, it's all on you.
All right, so now in your heart of hearts, spade's a spade. What do you think you're going to be looking for in Q1? What do you think is going to really be a solid lap in this session?
I think you should be able to go 62 out there. We just see, on the racetrack, a few cars on Monday. Track conditions really changed a lot. The sun's out, so it's going to be good.
Folks, keep an eye over here. Sometimes wisdom is way better than youth. Q1 U.S. Street Nationals coming up.
So Amber Denton, Robert Abbott, Scott Palmer, Scott Quisenberry, Jim Whiteley, Ryan Hayward, Jim Beadling, Ed Thornton, Larry Larson, and Ricardo Rodriguez. Larson, of course, running one of a few cars out this weekend, running the new Hearts Charger.
And now Larson and I talked on the phone this week, and interesting. This car is almost untested, right? He's got a new, basically kind of new setup. He did not want to run his old setup. He wanted to come out here with this, and he says it's well, I can't really say what he says, but it's going to be interesting to see what he does.
He's got some hair on his chest.
Yeah, he does. But he's always, he's very smart. That's a smart guy over there.
And listen, if you like Larry, you can check out Hot Rod Magazine. Recently, I wrote a feature on Larry, did an interview with him, and talked about a whole bunch of different things. He's talking about making a return to some of the drag and drive stuff with a new engine combination in his S10, and talked a lot about his drag racing career and what his different routes of travel have been. So if you're a Larry Larson fan, you can check that out at hotrod.com. Let's go Outlaw 632 racing, presented by Summit Racing Equipment and Rife Sensors.
Coming at you right now, Outlaw 632. What a great class this is. And, this is one that's getting faster and faster and faster. And somewhere around, what is it, 410 or so is a really stout number there in the Outlaw 632.
Mike Fiorelli coming up on the right side. Fiorelli's been running this Camaro for many years. Nice, vibrantly colored car. Is going to roll his way through. Out of Hollywood, Florida, he is running right up on the cubic inch displacement limit of 632 cubic inches. Bob Remick, left side out of Boca Raton, the 92 Camaro, crew chief by his wife, Patty.
Remick with a beautiful paint job on that thing, very colorful. Left-hand side, 92 body style. Now this is a prime example right here, what you were talking about, Outlaw 32 earlier.
Yeah.
So 632 cubic inches in the right side, but 565 left lane.
Yeah, so Remick's going to be able to run a little bit lighter weight. He's giving up some displacement. Remick brought this thing to the body shop. What color you want it? All of them.
Yeah, put them all on there, right? I want a potpourri. And these 632 or less cubic inches they run, they throw a lot of juice to them too.
Yeah, there is, the nitrous setups on these cars have been refined over the years as well, and we're going to see some big honking nitrous motors in a little while here in Outlaw Pro Mod.
So a pair of Florida cars going to light them up first here in our Outlaw 632 category. Two beautiful race cars, no shortage here on the grounds at our U.S. Street Nationals at beautiful Bradenton Motorsports Park. Here we go.
Great shot there, Jared, our boom operator, flying down over these cars in the starting line. Fiorelli's guy waving him in. Oh, it's Clayton over there waving him in. All right, chassis engineering involved in this machine.
He's unmistakable. He's only like 7 foot tall over there.
Right. Only guy who can high five from the top of the tower. Yeah, buddy.
Oh, yeah. Oh, death smoke in the left lane.
Little tire shake early for Fiorelli, but he powers through to a 422.8 at 168. A lot of tire shake early for Remick as he pedaled the thing. And, man, that was a lot of steam coming out of the right side exhaust of that car. Hopefully it was evaporating on its way out.
So Mike with a good hit right there initially. 422 at 168. That car looked good. Some tire shake. You're looking at his tracks over there on the right-hand side as well, but he powered through it.
And that's going to be the story kind of, especially in Outlaw 632, and as we move into the Outlaw Pro Modified class, these cars, of course, do not make the type of power that the Outlaw Pro Mod cars make, so they may be a little more susceptible to a very tight racetrack that we have now in shaking the tires. So the tune-up here is going to be one that favors the bold, especially early. The more power you can get at it to get some wheel speed under it, the better chance you're going to have without putting the tires square like both of those guys did. For Fiorelli, I mean, it shook enough that he was able to drive through, so they were really close on the tune-up.
You know, and just like you said, close on a tune-up, this is where, in our Outlaw Pro Mod, we want to look at, right? Those that are going to hit it early, it's bad news for the group, right? For the field. Somebody that hits it really early, and I'm looking forward to see who does that and catches that tune really early. And I know the conditions change as the weekend goes, but somebody that jumps out there and throws a low number initially and early is going to be a threat. Two more beautiful cars. Lenny Grauberg, left-hand side of Bradenton car, 69 Camaro, 632. He says he's a retired shrimp boat captain.
And Walt Lanigan out of Savannah, Georgia. Lanigan backing his way up. Oh, he's giving up on the Corvette. New car for Lanigan. Used to see him in a 53 Corvette. Now he's got the freedomgrow.org machine right-hand side. It's like a Dodge Stratus body on that thing, or a GTO. I think it's Pontiac GTO. And looking at, Lanigan's car and Grauberg's car here kind of tell us the story of this class. Grauberg's car is the type of car we saw for many, many years in Outlaw 632. Stock wheelbase, steel roof quarters, back half style race car. You look at Lanigan's car, that may have actually been a former Pro Stock car.
Absolutely, yeah. That's a great example right there. This pair, this left-hand side almost looks like a grudge car. That's a good-looking one, no matter what it is. And today, it's Outlaw 632, and he's probably very good at it. You see the nitrous purge coming out of the left-hand side.
Watch the way these two cars work off the starting line. If Grauberg gets a hold of racetrack, he's going to carry the front end a lot farther than Lanigan's car will. Lanigan's car, with the longer wheelbase setup that he has here, full tubular chassis, is going to be a little bit more low flyer. Yeah, you can see Grauberg's car skittering the front tire along. Lanigan goes 410 with a 9. Woo! Yeah, buddy, 171 miles an hour.
Man, that is quick. Yeah, still got the 53 on the thing there. Yeah, like you said, Lenny's car was just, that front tire was just dancing the whole way down there. Still a good hit as he goes 634, 137 mile an hour down low as he lifted early, but right side all business.
Yeah, so Lanigan's tune-up was on point there. Got wheel speed, drove it out nice and smooth as Kyle Salminen comes up now. Salminen, the Nelson-powered 03 Cavalier with the lightning bolts running front to back. Marty's his crew chief. Kyle's dad got him into this sport of drag racing after he got out of college. Kyle's a really successful college hockey player and kind of wanted something to fulfill that, and he was always around the racetrack growing up, but he'd never really been a driver, so to speak. His dad brought him the racetrack, gets in the race car, and Kyle's been killing it ever since.
Wow, that's a great story there. Tony Lavaldo, left-hand lane in a Mustang that did not like the burnout. Something's off there. The crew members are waving their hands like the world was on fire, trying to back him up, get him do it again. 2005 Mustang. Not sure what's happening there. They're sitting there going through some issues. And it looks like they're going to shut it off as it's not mechanical failure there of left-hand lane. So a solo pass this time.
And Labaldo's one of the few in the crowd in this category that does run a small block. It's only a 450-inch motor, so a very lightweight car there. Unfortunately, broken in the burnout. Hopefully they can get it squared away. So Salminen will be on a solo pull here. So Kyle Salmon, and let's listen to this Nelson-built 632 go to work. Little miss early, but he's going to be able to power through. Goes a 418, 168 miles an hour, 988.60 foot time. Got a good hold of the racetrack. It did sound like the motor was missing just a touch early in the run.
It did. He was sashayed a little bit, then a good driving job, but a great hit, 418 at 168.
Now we got Tukey over there in the water box. It looks like one of Tukey's guys is waving to get somebody over. Nope, Tukey's fine. He's put the steering wheel on the thing. It's always good to have the steering wheel fully mounted to the steering shaft.
Well, it's not going to take you long to remember that when you let off the button.
So Tukey Swales completes the burnout in that green Pontiac Firebird. Got his smoked plexi style mailbox scoop on the top of the motor.
Kind of old school, I guess, right?
Gotta love it.
Yeah, I don't know if you call that old school, but it's old cool. How about that?
HRE horsepower.
Bastenbeck, look at this thing out of Connecticut, Watertown, Connecticut, 2015 Camaro. Look at how beautiful is that. Looks like one of Greg's designs on the side of that, but what a beautiful race car that is.
Yeah, beautifully turned out car front to back. Swales purging the nitrous on his side of the racetrack. Lester going to take care of business now. And so both guys going to get that bottle pressure where they want it and then move into pre-stage. A little wheelie bar adjustment happened in the back of Bastenbeck's car. Right now, low ET of the round is Walt Lanigan at 410, 171.
410 is fast. Early on, too. How about that?
We have called the first 10 pair of Pro Mod to the lanes. The first 10 pair of Pro Modifieds. We have called you to the lanes. Identical result on both sides of the racetrack, meaning that both cars jumped up on the tire and spun, some we have not seen at all this round.
Looked like synchronized neutral slamming right there.
The one thing you hate to see about that, and it usually happens, is the guys tend to carry the starting line with them off of it when they get to that type of almost stationary wheel spin.
have some fun down here in Florida. I've really enjoyed driving this Pro Charger car, so now that I'm comfortable in it, we're gonna try to do some damage.
Now, I know you came out here to have fun, get some more experience in Pro Mod, but if you go look at the points, this is a point series now. There are a lot of cars out here that did not qualify for that first event. There's going to be a lot of cars now that we're down to 3 qualifiers, maybe up in the points, that do not qualify for this. Now that you're kind of got your feet wet and you know that you can hang with these guys and gals over here, how important is it to you to chase a series championship?
It's definitely important. It's why we came out here. Big thanks to Wes for putting all this on, but yeah, this is getting down to the nitty gritty. We won a couple rounds last race, like you said, but the weather's thrown a wrench in the plans. Instead of 5 runs, it looks like we're going to probably get about 3. So we've really got to get after it. Everybody has to get after it. And I think things will go a little bit haywire with people jumping around in the field and whatnot. So we got to make our move.
Now, you just said this about getting into the field. It's going to be different. We don't have 5 qualifiers anymore. There was always this money shot where people go and they toss it to the moon. A lot of people that maybe shouldn't have been qualified make a really good run one time, get in. You were one of the most consistent cars at the Snowbird Outlaw Nationals. I think you didn't abort any run, but you only pedaled 1 run on here. Is it going to be that kind of thing that makes success here?
Yeah, I definitely think so. And at the Snowbirds, we tested for like 3 days before qualifying even started. So I feel like everybody got a really good handle on their race cars. Having said that, the conditions are very different here. There's been a lot of water. They've had to redo the track a couple of times. So I think we just go out there and do our best, but you're absolutely spot on. Chris Terry did an excellent job tuning this car at the Snowbirds. I got down the racetrack 13 out of 14 times, which is more than I can say about my Pro Stock car last year. But we were extremely successful, extremely consistent, and as it heated up, when people started slowing down, we just kind of hung with where we were running throughout qualifying. So I think that says a lot about our capabilities, and the more comfortable I get, I think the more dangerous I'll get, and we'll put our heads down, go to work, but we're still gonna have some fun.
The more comfortable she gets, she considers herself a rookie here. Eric Anders, guys, good luck this weekend.
Thank you.
Tech PJS Racing Outlaw Pro Mod. It is the centerpiece category of this second race of the Drag Illustrated Winter Series, the U.S. Street Nationals, presented by M&M Transmission. Steve, we begin with Josh Vettel, who is going to make a solo shot. And, back in the mining days, we used to talk about the canary. They would hang in the coal mine, and if things were going bad, the canary died. You knew to get out of the mine.
Right.
Josh is the canary.
Josh is the canary, the guinea pig, whatever you want to call it. But you know what? I think it's a great deal right here that's running a solo, because if there was somebody else over there, we'd still be looking at this beautiful car here in the left-hand lane.
The Plum Crazy Purple 1971 Cuda with a Pro-Charged 540-inch Hemi.
Well, just like that, the crew cuts him off. Not sure. Oh, the chute pops out.
Parachute came out of the back of the car. So Vettel is being moved backward. Richard Freeman down there with the car. I'm guessing he's running Elite Power, or they're just pals, but I'm guessing there's Elite Power under the hood.
That's good for a couple of numbers, I think.
Yeah, so we'll get another look at that 71 Plum Crazy Purple Cuda in just a little while, as the next pair is going to roll their way around the corner. Murder Novashan's coming up. That beautiful blue Camaro, the twin turbocharged machine he's going to drive. Larson's got his hat on down there at the start. Looks like he just finished unloading a truck at a loading dock.
Yeah, absolutely. I was thinking maybe a Jiffy Lube. He just came from under the pit.
This guy's waving somebody over. He's waving somebody into the service bay.
Little hat on, a little beanie hat there. Yeah, he definitely looks like he's been working on something.
I mean, how great was it to see Sean pick up the championship, the No Prep Kings championship? This guy has been so dedicated to this form of drag racing for so many years. To see that happen for him was massive.
Yeah, he's an interesting cat, man. He's got his hands in a lot of stuff. You know, restoration with him and his dad, and he's got a broad knowledge, and he likes, you know, at one time he thought about not racing as much, but look what that has done when he stayed with it, you know.
And how about Blake Housley, the chassis builder from Lee Summit, Missouri, the track manager at Flying H Drag Strip. A very, very talented young man over there on that McFarland Racing side of the drag strip. 959 cubic inches of nitrous bomb in the nose of Blake Housley's Chevrolet Camaro.
Left-hand side, most of you know him as Murder Nova. That's right. Sean Ellington behind the wheel. Union City, Ohio is listed. I guess that's a car over there. Beautiful race car. Been tested, made one or two hits earlier in the week before all that rain settled in. So twin turbocharged car. Going to see the mile an hour there if he goes A to B.
The Ramjack Keith Haney Racing sponsored machine going to roll ahead. Mark Mickey looking on in the starting line as an interested party down there. And Blake Housley purging the nitrous. The paintwork on Housley's car is next level good.
Phenomenal. What a beautiful race car on the right side. And there is a fearless leader down there, Wes Buck. Look, he gets amped up.
He's fired up down there.
He gets amped up. You know, that's without a monster drink. He's going to drink a couple of those in there. He'd probably be jumping on those tents out there like a bouncy house.
Hey, we already did that once this morning.
Yeah, that was a bad experience. Lost power early on. The tent blew up on the power lines. We got that all figured out. Disco Dean down there and is all pink in his brand new beautiful race car. And we're off. Oh, look at the tire shake, and he powers right down through it, left-hand side.
370, 215 miles an hour. A beautiful opening shot, and I say beautiful because he used his experience to drive through early tire shake. The thing was trying to wad the tire up to about 150 feet down the racetrack. That car was definitely heading deep into the 60s. Had it actually not spun, not shook the tire like it did. Housley, on the other hand, I think at one point all four tires of that thing might have been off the ground. It shook violently.
Yeah, you can see the marks over there, right there, and it looked like something settled down there somewhere around 250 feet or so, or 200 foot. Left-hand side, Sean, he was, like you said, powered through that tire shake, and that's a great sign, though, to run a 70 and the first one to go down there at 215 miles an hour.
Definitely a big weight off his shoulders. By the time you get through 3 rounds of qualifying, that 70 is not going to have you in the field, but it's a good place to start. Comes the Black Mamba, Keith Haney from Broken Arrow, Oklahoma. The 998 cubic inch nitrous motor for Haney on the right-hand side of the drag strip. The outspoken drag racer spends most of his time in the Midwest Pro Modified Drag Racing Series. Another of these racers gathering themselves from all the different disciplines of pro mod racing around the country here at this U.S. Street Nationals. And he is going to have his hands full, especially just simply backing up the claims he already made before he got here.
Right? Yeah. Oh, and you know his name over there on the right side, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, if you don't, he'll tell you. Lyle Barnett, left-hand side, a hired gun. This guy can wheel just about anything, and he's great at it. 2018 Camaro. Beautiful car. Raced his last race at our Snowbird. Out of Robbins, North Carolina, business owner. That's a Yeoman's racing car right there. Beautiful race cars they have. McFab Beadlocks. They're newest venture there for Lyle. They've had for a couple of years. Tuned by Lee White, Proline, Pro Charger, Braille Batteries, VP Racing. So Lyle Barnett, crowd favorite here in the left-hand lane.
Of course, Brandon Schweitzer long involved with the program of Keith Haney, one of the great nitrous tuners of all time. Continues to innovate and continues to hand Keith Haney a race car that has shown itself to be capable of being with the best in the world. We did see that first shot by Blake Housley result in violent tire shake out of a nitrous car. A very tight rope, if you will, to walk here off this starting line. And we heard it from Mike Washington down the stage lanes. A grudge race between these two outspoken door slammer drag racing stars. Oh, man.
Wow. This one all Lyle from the hit. He was out in front, had Haney doubled up on the starting line. You saw the tire shake over there in the right lane.
But, man, Barnett's 362.7. If history's a guide, that is a top half qualifying shot. That's probably going to be a top quarter qualifying shot right out of the gate.
That's amazing. 62 at 207 for that car. Like you said, that's way too early for that number, but he just threw it down.
Yeah, and listen, credit to Lee White, certainly credit to Lyle. The 60-foot times on those two runs were within a thousandth of a second. 9:24 one side, 9:25 for Haney. And Haney's 25 was coming as the tire was already giving up grip. So that car, had it stuck to the racetrack, would probably even quicker than that to 60. I think Haney's car is pretty close to being there. He made it out to, let's call it 100 feet for you to finally kill it, but it was less violent shake than we saw to Blake Housley's car. But for Lyle Barnett, Lee White, Tommy Yeomans, and the rest of the crew, chef's kiss on that one.
Right? All right, attention in the pits. Or imminent mob. We need a next five pair. Alex Lawlin. Adrian Herrera needs you in the lanes. Pierre Chacon, Bubba Green to the lanes. DJ McCain and Robin Roberts. Robin in his brand new race car, untested. David Monday. Tom Blinko. Robert Davis. And Dmitry, how do you say? Samarukov, one of your guys out there, right? So Dmitry to the lanes as well. The next five pair, 11 through 15. We've got to have you in the lanes, please, in our Outlaw Pro Mod category. The next five pair, please.
So the interesting thing, what have we seen so far? There's only a handful of pair of cars in here. What we've seen is that there's potential to run the bottom of the 60s already out of the gate. 62 is a run that, when we look at the progression of qualifying at these runs, it takes most cars a couple of hits to get there. So if you're going to come into Q2 working off of a 362 in conditions that are still going to be beyond anything you've ever seen in your life, sky's the limit.
Well, and you know these tuners out there and the crews are talking, and you can actually watch the rumor spread down. Which lane did he go in? They're talking about there. What, he went a 62 left side? So they're all, second guess, looking and scratching their heads, looking at that laptop, figuring what they can do here. So I would imagine we're going to see some great, great numbers. Hey, reminder out there, we need the vehicles move that are up against the fence. Up against the fence, back by the water box. Up against the fence, cars backed up against the fence. You got to have those moved. We're down to two now, and it looks like two different ones. So a white pickup truck and a gray one. Got to have those moved. We've got a vendor coming in that space has already been accounted for, so we got to have those vehicles moved, please.
So if we talk about qualifying order, where we should expect, history should tell us our number one should be. The high 50s is where we should kind of be looking for where that number one spot would be. Mickey was 359, won at 218 at the 2024 Snowbirds. If we go a year ago at this race, it was, you guessed it, Mark Mickey again ran 357.9, number one. You go back 2 years, Chip King ran 359.1 to be the number one qualifier. So that tells us that that's kind of the window we're in, and maybe even a little better with these conditions. And yeah, the man whose name we just mentioned will be at one of the finale runs of this first session.
Right, the back of the pack here in that draw down there, like 35 pair of cars coming. He's in the 34, so I would imagine he could keep that streak alive right there that you just mentioned.
So it'd be a bit of a Eastern Canadian civil war here during this next pair as Scott Wildgus and Louis Ouimet will be making their way up. Of course, multiple generations of Wildgus in the pro drag racing ranks these days. Sienna Wildgus running pro stock last year in the world of NHRA drag racing. Scott's long been a hero of the Pro Mod Wars. And that nice crisp note of a screw-charged alcohol-burning Hemi fills the air for Scott Wildgus.
Good-looking car. Well, Matt, right there, a little interesting burnout there on the left-hand side.
Yeah, the chip works.
Out of Timmins, Ontario. I tell you what, though, when Luis says he wanted an orange car, he wasn't messing around. He's got one.
That is safety orange right there. That's what they paint the pylons inside a factory so a guy didn't crash a forklift into them, kind of orange. And it does not have active reverse.
Uh-oh. All kinds of issues. They're still working on it, trying to get it there. Look how narrow the back end of that thing, Corvette is.
It is tucked in. To me, those C7 Corvette body cars really are great looking. Now, they're rocking this thing back and forth. I wonder if he has a Lenko in this car. I wonder if he runs a Lenko and a clutch in this thing still. Because with a Lenko, you would have a reverse you'd have to engage. They got it. So, yeah, I made the natural assumption, like the majority of these cars use an automatic transmission, but I think Ouimet may still have a Lenko in there. Or some sort of a B&J or some sort of planetary.
You know, these cars, that body style, they just look like they're going so fast. They're sitting right there. You just see mile an hour written all over it. So, interesting matchup right here.
Yeah, what was interesting about these C7 Corvette bodies when they came out is the initial run of them, the height of the rear quarter panels actually had a lot of drag. So, like, visually, you're like, oh, this is the most aerodynamic thing ever. So if you look at the later ones of these bodies, they actually brought the height of the rear quarters down because the whole body was acting almost like a wing, and it was actually causing some drag at speed, kind of killing a little speed. Yeah.
They make great-looking race cars, though.
Oh, they're spectacular.
The lower motor's sitting way far forward on it.
Little squirt of the de-icer there across the face of the injector hat.
Pair of blown power plants right here, locking horns. Q1.
Shake, rattle, and roll. Tire shake on both sides, and this is exactly what we talked about this morning. This track is tight as a drumhead, and so the reality is it's balancing enough wheel speed with. It's exactly what we saw Lee White tune into the Lyle Barnett's car. Lee White is the one guy right now who has the correct math formula for this surface at the moment.
You think he's willing to share that?
Absolutely not. Right. He and Colonel Sanders, man, the secret recipe.
Yeah, that one ingredient. He's not going to tell him what it is.
A big thank you to PJS Racing Team and PJS Racing, the engine building outfit out of Texas, building engines across the spectrum of drag racing. All horsepower levels from the highest of the highs here to any sort of sportsman engines you want. PJS Racing out of Texas, one of our presenting sponsors of M&M Transmission Outlaw Pro Mod.
That starting line's getting a little crowded up there, Brian. Look at all those people. They have a lot of interested parties up there.
So turbochargers here for Eric LaFerrier, a guy who you'll no doubt have seen driving Dewey Buy's White Rice 2JZ powered Nissan, a car that has been a dominating force in small tire radial drag racing for some time. But he is in this 69 twin turbocharged Camaro, DVB Racing, Motec, XRE Racing engines, the Stevens family providing the power, M&M transmissions, and Tyron titanium innovations, so it's light.
Right, left-hand side, Tim Dutton. New Hampshire, you should know about Tim Dutton.
Yeah, Tim Dutton's a guy, man. I've watched this guy's career evolve from a dude who would show up with a pretty fast street car on Test and 2 nights at New England Dragway to running Radio vs. the World, and now the former Tommy Gray Undertaker Corvette.
That's a popular path, though, you just mentioned. A lot of them start out that way. 2016 Bickle car, Tommy Gray's Undertaker car. Tim Dutton behind the wheel. Uh-oh. Thing is jumping back in reverse. I don't think anybody's ready for that.
I believe that is Tom. He's going to stick his head in the passenger door here. Giving Dutton some instruction. There he goes. I think this is a clutch car as well. It looked to me like he was getting the reverser handle kind of disengaged there. Now the car's moving forward. Tommy Gray is OG Pro Mod Racing. It's amazing that he's still here. And the car was named the Undertaker for good reason. Funeral home guy. So Gray, the Mid-Atlantic-based racer, you can see Jamie, the starter, telling Tim Dutton that he is on the clock as Eric LaFerriere and crew are waiting over there for the car to move ahead. The turbo car is fairly forgiving, especially in this weather, but the problem is you're burning fuel out of a nose-mounted fuel tank, Steven. You know, you miss the balance on these cars. You're going to whack that wheelie bar or get it to shake.
Yeah, the transmissions don't like to build up that heat either. They get kind of finicky sitting over there waiting. Uh-oh, crewman's caught over there. Here we go. There's this spool.
LaFerriere drives through, shake.
Woo! Look at Eric right there driving it.
376.7, a $1.99. It was starting to nose over, I think, at the finish line, but Dutton goes to 369.
Dutton goes quicker, 369 with a 4. Currently number 2 spot at 207 miles an hour. Barnett at the top still with a 62. 69 for Dutton right there. Eric goes to number 4.
And again, we talk about a driver's experience. So as LaFerriere was coming off the starting line, the car was scrubbing the tires. He knew what was going to happen out there, and it did. The thing really got up into the boost. It locked the converter, and he was off to the races. Now, the speed of 199, and I thought I might have heard it was either the bass speaker down there or he might have put a burst panel out at the top end.
Yeah, that car, Eric's car, started to drift a little bit to the right-hand side, but he stayed with it, powered down through there. Got him a good number to start out with a 76, and they'll adjust from there.
So here comes Larry Larson out of Oak Grove, Missouri. Of course, a guy whose chassis building business has been going great guns for many years. Became nationally known through the early days of the drag and drive movement. I got to ride in 2005 at the first drag week. I got to ride shotgun with Larry when his pink Nova had a 1271 on a big block Chevy with a Lenko in it on the street.
That had to be fun, right?
Oh man, it ran 860s and we thought it was the single greatest achievement in humankind.
Right.
Ricardo Rodriguez coming up. Sao Paulo, Brazil is home for Ricardo, driving for the Artevinco Racing Team.
And we just talked about it right here, left-hand side, Larry Larson. Out of Oak Grove, Missouri, a 66 Chevy 2 Nova, 564 hearts on board right there. Larson race cars. Hart's Pro Charger, X-Surance, one of his big sponsors. He's still carrying that with him. Hats off to that sponsorship right there. They've hung with Larry for a while, and they treat him good, and he treats them well.
This is the lightest weight car that Larry Larson has ever built, by his own admission. There is more carbon fiber on this thing than even he'll admit. Many parts of this car you're looking at right now are made of carbon fiber, something you may not expect. But the big story here for this weekend is Larry's car and a handful of others are wearing the Hart's Charger. For many, many years, Hart's turbochargers have been involved in drag racing on all levels. Of course, they're very well known in the world of tractor pulling, but they have spent a lot of years investing in an R&D program to develop a centrifugal supercharger, and they are finally ready to put it into competition. That's what's happening here this weekend.
Yeah, they're being hush-hush about the numbers those things are producing, but they say they're making a lot of power with that Hart's power plant over there. And Larry tells me it's either going to go really good or really bad. So, you know, I could say that probably about every run right here.
It's a segment of the power adder business that's been dominated, of course, by Pro Charger. Hart's is trying to get some market share here with a brand new product, and Larry playing the test mule. Woof. He's going to pedal it to get a number out of it. He goes 398 at 194, despite the fact that the early part of the run turned into a nightmare.
Violent tire shake right there. Did you see that? I'm surprised the back window stayed in it. That was a lot of shake left-hand side.
You can see where it left. It was shaking the tires, and you can actually see where he whacked the throttle again because it left 2 more strips of rubber about 150
What a great
feet
shot
down.
that is right there in our glare. You can see it plain as day. Man, that's amazing.
Rodriguez rolled the car before the tree was activated. He gets nothing out of that one. What is a fascinating thing to watch out here is, that Larry decided to get back in the throttle. A lot of racers might not have made that call, but because they're R&D in these parts, because they have like no runs on that particular combination, any data they can get in terms of a boost curve and the power it's going to make, they'll take. So they will learn something out of that run. Certainly wasn't the number they wanted to put up. The D-Bar-D Racing team on the right side of the racetrack. Ed Thornton's coming up as 1970 Camaro, 521 cubic inch engine as tuned by Shane Tecklenburg. They decided to, ring in a rainy Thursday night. Apparently they have a tradition with Scott Palmer called Evil Knievel Thursday. And so Shane, they passed a bottle of Wild Turkey around and took rips out of it. So that was how they celebrated last night.
James Beeling here, left-hand side. What a beautiful car. I love that flat blue, or matte blue, I should say, the blower car. 2018 Camaro, 526 cubic inches.
Charger on top of the motor for James. Thornton running the turbocharged combination out of Chino, California. That's a car that spends most of its time racing in the Midwest Pro Modified Association. So Ed making his way forward to the pre-stage beam. We'll see if Evil Knievel Thursday rubbed off on the tune-up here today. Pedal job for Thornton. Rather, pedal job for Beeling as he goes down to 394.6. Thornton's car was very lazy early, a 104.60 foot time. Looks like some smoke rolling out of the back of it down there in the actually it's maybe blown across the racetrack down there. But either way, the car was Thornton's car anyway was very, very lazy to leave.
As long as it's not a tent, Brian, we're good.
That's right. Beware of unintentional kites. Ryan Hayward out of Marysville, Washington. 1969 Camaro going to roll up. Laid back headers on this baby. Beautiful looking paint job. Jim Whiteley, the J&A service. Yenko striped Camaro. Jim Whiteley, of course, his wife Annie Whiteley. They race in the alcohol categories. Jim's been a champion and top alcohol dragster. He's a great funny car racer. He's been in a Pro Mod car for years.
I tell you, you see a white Camaro or a white race car, Pro Mod, and that J&A service on the side of it, that means trouble.
You know who it is.
You know who it is.
And Ryan Hayward, all the way down from the Pacific Northwest in Washington State. So the Whiteley team steps up to make that final wheelie bar adjustment. Same process for Hayward across the drag strip. Dmitry Samarukov taking a walk down the side of the drag strip, getting the lay of the land here at Bradenton Motorsports Park. Both cars now set for duty as they roll ahead. Jumped off the starting line. Hayward's car drove out pretty conservatively, but finishes the run 373 at 206. Again, a 373 is not putting you in this field, but if I'm building off a tuning book for a weekend, I'd rather that situation than the one Whiteley just had.
Yeah, all steps right there to get to the end result. You saw Whiteley's cars, it looked like immediately got on the brake and it thing just jumped out. I'm surprised he got an ET right there as it was close.
So after 13 of 69 cars, Lyle Barnett has outpaced the field so far by 7/100ths of a second.
That's strong, right?
That is King Kong looking strong.
You know, I would love to say, yeah, but some hitters are coming, but they're all hitters.
It's a long way. It's a long way from halfway over. Yeah, Scott Quisenberry out of Springfield, Ohio, going to roll up next. The former Mike Ashley, 1941 Willys.
Scott Palmer, left-hand side, a Maryland driver, 63 Corvette.
You got a little traffic jam happening at the top end turnout, so we may be hanging these guys for a moment here. You may hear the motors go silent. We're going to wait till the top end traffic jam is cleared up there at the turnoff.
Hey, we're down to one truck. We need one truck moved that's up against the fence, you know, right behind the water box, parked up against the fence. It looks like a gray. What is that, Brian?
A Dodge Ram.
Is it a Dodge Ram, the gray one?
I believe so.
Maybe it is. We need that truck moved, please. We need that moved.
You don't have to admit to owning it. We just need you to put a paper bag on your head and move it.
Yeah, that's right. Just sneak over there when nobody's looking.
Yeah.
Wait till these Pro Mod cars doing a burnout, slide over there and run and move it.
Oh, it's a Honda truck. Whoa, now you really don't want to admit to owning it.
Yeah, now they're not coming. They're definitely not coming now.
If you got a Honda Ridgeline parked over there by the fence line, please go move it immediately.
Once again, in the Honda truck, the Ridgeline truck moved. It's parked over here behind the water box up against the fence. Got to have that moved, please. Got to have that moved. Uh-oh, got him one there. Palmer just decapitated. The guy there blows a hat over there on the grass. Palmer, Mr. Nitro, left-hand side. Beautiful 63 Corvette out of Maryland, right side, Quisenberry. Springfield, Ohio, 41 Willys. What a great matchup right here. The contrast of race cars and our Outlaw Pro Mod category.
Man, Scott Quisenberry raced down here for years and years with a 55 Chevy that he kept throwing more power to and more power to, and everything was cool. It just, the car never really was designed for as much oomph as he was trying to put through it. The second he bought this 41 Willys, put his engine combination in it, the guy immediately became somebody to look out for. Of course, Scott Palmer, the people's champion, as he is well known around these parts. The guy races Top Fuel cars, of course, had the Top Fuel Studebaker that met a pretty spectacular end a few years ago. He's long recovered from that negative situation, but he's been a Pro Mod racer, alcohol funny car racer. A guy who, when asked once, was if you didn't drag race, what did you do? He'd say, be in prison. It was an honest answer, and likely accurate.
Well, we hope he stays in drag racing.
Yeah.
That's all I can say. You know, the Willys body style over there, although it's, you know, they're pretty squashed up to run Pro Mod. I always pull for them, though. I like them. You know?
Oh, they're cool, man. Now we're talking. Palmer rides the bars to a 381, 198.
Yeah, wheels up there, left-hand side. Trouble for Quisenberry in the right-hand lane right at the initial hit.
And I do believe Palmer's car is a clutch car as well, and you saw it kind of work like one, meaning as it came out, it drove out on that primary weight, and then when the thing really started to put itself together, it got up on the wheelie bars, tracked straight. Nice opening shot for Scott. I mean, that was a really nice way for him to open a program.
Yeah,
here.
it takes him to the number 6 spot halfway through the field right there. Not a bad place to be.
Yeah, that's probably the best run Scott's put on that car in the better part of a year or so of coming down here and throwing down with the best in the world. So, well done. So let's talk Robert Abbott and let's talk Amber Denton, formerly Amber Franklin, of the Franklin family of the PDRA. Amber has had an incredibly successful season, the Outlaw 632 category in PDRA drag racing, the Pro 632 category over there.
Yeah, I've watched these girls grow up and in juniors, and they can just race anything. They're going to be highly successful when they get behind the wheel.
Yeah, championship season, and now she is climbing into the full board Pro Mod ranks. Robert Abbott from Bowling Green, Florida, the 1968 Camaro. Abbott was, and still remains, a hero at Bradenton Motorsports Park. This dude for years would show up here with a stock wheelbase 69 Camaro with door handles on it and run with these guys. It was sketchy as all get out, and it was the greatest thing of all time. And he since advanced his program a few years ago by picking this car up from Todd Tutterow, the Wild Motorsports machine, tie drive, and it was great to see Abbott advance his program, but when he got away from that shopping cart length Camaro, my heart broke a little.
Yeah, you got to pull for the OG stuff, right? I mean, it's always great to see that, and somebody be successful at it. What a beautiful race car that is there.
So Amber Denton, the Redline Oil, Hoosier Racing Tires, Franken Electric, SmartCom Home Technologies, Jeff Pierce tuned Camaro. And Robert Abbott backing his way up to the starting line. Of course, nitrous for Amber with Pat Musey providing the power over there.
In the OG Jungle Rat Camaro on the right-hand side. I always like that name, and always those paint jobs and paint schemes. I've always been a fan of that color combination. In the new car of Tommy's, it looks great as well.
They got a lot of data. They got a lot of runs on that car over there. We'll find out if they can apply it here for Amber. That's Amber's sister out there ahead of the windshield, bringing her into the beams. Ashley Franklin on the radio headset. Going to give the nod across the racetrack when they send Amber ahead.
That's a cool deal right there. I remember these little girls when they could barely get into a junior, and now here they are.
So Abbott's all double bulbed up in here, so Amber Denton is going to move her program maybe a little bit ahead of the schedule she's used to. She did take a moment to make sure she had her strategy correct. She's going to pre-stage, and she's going to roll it in.
Uh-oh, something flew off the car there on the right-hand side of Amber. Look at that hit.
Now, to me, that is strategic genius. They came out here, run a 369 at 204. You heard the car. RPM shifts were made at a little lower level. I think they're working her to be fully comfortable in this thing. She drove it perfectly, but that is a great way to open the thing up. Didn't come up here to try to rotate the earth backward, but that car was on a set of tracks down the center of the groove.
Takes her currently to number 3 spot with that 69 with a 5 strong pass for the Franklin Motorsports. Got to love it.
Steve Logan, we've accomplished something few announcers have ever accomplished. We've gotten 6 vehicles moved without the use of a tow truck at Bradenton Motorsports Park.
Yeah, that's rare. I mean,
I might leave.
Yeah, well, that is rare.
Adrian Herrera, right side, a 1967 Chevelle rolling through the water box.
Always impressive with this car. I mean, look at what it is and what it's surrounded with, and it still does a great job. Of course, right on cue. I've just Kirk doubted him as that thing is missing over there. Alex Long on the left-hand side out of Bluffdale, Texas, 68 Camaro. Always has beautiful race cars. and another wheel man that's good at it.
So that's Kenny Laughlin, Alex's dad, out in front of the car right there, getting him set up. Unfortunately for Herrera, that thing just does not want to seem to do anything when he pulls it down into gear. It sounds good at idle and when it's freewheeling, but not so much when they pull it down into gear. Brandon Pez, the builder of the engine, the PJS power plant under the hood of the Bluffdale, Texas-based machine.
You got to just root for a car that looks like that, right? I don't know.
No, the thing, it's rare to say that a car is unique in a 69 car Pro Mod field, but guess what? That's unique.
Yeah, that is. It's a cool looking race car. Got his hands full trying to enter this category with a bunch of sharks in it, but I like it.
And of course, the injector hat of all injector hats for Alex Laughlin. Not just over the roof. It's about a 2-story building hanging out the front of that car.
Yeah, I imagine there's some bridges this car cannot go under.
Right. Yeah. Wheelie bars getting checked on Laughlin's car as Herrera's car finally begins to make its way forward. Starter Jamie looking in there saying, we're all ready to go here, right? And they are.
Both lanes here, both cars lose the tires early on. And abort theirs runs. They'll have to do the math to get in there and make some changes, control alt, delete that program, get another one in there.
Laughlin's car was 942 to 60 before the shake, and it was pretty much shaken by the time it got to the block. Herrera's car moved, I think, about 1 tire rotation for it, squared the tires up. And they will be back in the pits, as you said, reconfigure the tune-up and the approach. Green out of Taylor, South Carolina, the 2017 Corvette, 526 tried and true cubic inches of supercharged Hemi.
Scotty Cannon helping out over there. Pierre Chouin, left-hand side out of Quebec, 67 Corvette. Like one of those new Jeffers body style right there, 521 cubic inches, beautiful race car. I love. You know what? I made a mistake at a Snowbirds of saying that's a really cool paint job or a really cool wrap. It is not a wrap; it's a paint job. Beautiful car, left side. And Bubba Green in the right-hand lane out of Taylor, South Carolina. Now, I've announced some Pro Mod events down there in the South, and I've seen this car run some really strong numbers. And they got a great team over there.
And so that beautiful Outlaw Corvette can roll up here out of Quebec, Canada. Home of Senior Super Speedway. Outside of Quebec, of course, Napierville Dragway. Great little track up there near Montreal. And so Bubba Green. Nice leave. Green goes 968 to 60, goes to 76 at 200. The car had actually put a cylinder on. Now, it may have had a wheelie control come on there. As you saw it leave the starting line on the left-hand side of the engine, it did have a cylinder on, maybe on the right side, too, if the wheelie control was perhaps working. But Pierre goes 577.5. at
Yeah, it was
82.
good down low, but that thing just went away quickly. Here comes a great matchup right here. Been looking forward to this ever since I saw the lineup and the draw right here for qualifying order and pairing. Brand new race car and in the right lane, and no stranger to heads up racing in the left side, DJ McCain.
And Robin Roberts coming up now. Roberts, another of the Hearts Chargers test cars here this weekend. Rolls his way up through there from Smithville, Missouri.
Robin's car right here, Ryan, untested in the right-hand side. Untested. The paint probably still smells like wet paint over there on that car in the right lane.
There's no time like the present, right?
Right, what could go wrong? Let her rip.
Right.
DJ McCain out of North Augusta, South Carolina, 68 Camaro left-hand lane. He ran some great numbers at our Snowbirds, DJ did.
They know another family, another young man whose career we've watched blossom over the years, of course, really rose to prominence in their Bowser, little Datsun B210 they had.
What a beautiful car.
I mean, just
what
one of
a beautiful
yeah,
car.
Yep, that one will go down as one of the coolest of all time in Door Slammer history. So what Larry Larson showed us, his run was a tire shaker, but once he got the thing hooked up, we saw a big charge off the back end of the racetrack. Generally speaking, if you're going to shoot a cell phone video at the starting line, standing with your foot in the beams is not the place to do it. I'm no expert at this stuff, but I've heard that's annoying.
Wife Melanie out in front. They have 7 daughters, by the way. Robert Roberts, Melanie Roberts, and a phenomenal singer. You heard me say this. I say it about every race. She has sang at private parties for 3 of our nation's presidents.
7 daughters.
7 daughters.
These guys need another hobby.
Yeah, need racing. They need to race more. Yeah, they definitely need to race more. Brand new car, Quartermax car, in the right side. Oh, he was on one, but that thing got a little light on the front end. It looks like it's sashayed. He has to pull the shoes.
375-202 for DJ McCain. For Robin Roberts, not sure if it was a planned shutoff or not. Like you said, Steve, maybe he was moving around a little on him. But the early numbers,
good.
384, I believe, or 384 60-foot time. I'm sorry, the 984 or 48 60-foot time for Roberts. So it was sub 950 to 60. So down low, good power application, and they're going to keep working on it. And if it's a brand new car, racers like Robin, all these people with multiple years of experience, you always walk before you run in one of these things. Comes Tom Blinko and David Monday. If history is a guide, David Monday built the car Tom Blinko's sitting in. David Monday race cars. Tom Blinko has long run David Monday cars through his years running in the NMCA series and Pro Modified and typically matching Corvettes. Monday, a very talented chassis builder out of Maryville, Tennessee.
Definitely looks like double vision right here, a pair of Corvettes. Again, look at the narrow rear end or body on those things, and they just come back to like a dovetail.
They had to put the Team UPR decal on Monday's car so they could figure out which one to get in the pits.
Yeah, get in the wrong car. Wait a minute, no, you're in this lane in this car.
Right. So Lyle Barnett still a train length on the field thus far. We have had 3 cars touch the 360s. Denton, Dutton, and Barnett. Sounds like a law firm.
Or a Yellowstone show.
Yeah, right. Denton, Dutton, and Barnett Ranch. It'd be a fun place to drink some beers.
I'm sure, yeah, and kill people.
Right. Take them to the train station.
Take them to the train station. Yeah, no stranger. David Monday here, left-hand side, Tennessee car, Kentucky car. Blinko on the right lane. 23 Corvette left-hand side, 2021 Corvette in the right lane.
Great crowd rolling in here for a brisk Friday morning of qualifying at these M&M Transmission U.S. Street Nationals. Race 2 of the Drag Illustrated Winter Series here at Bradenton Motorsports Park.
Oh boy. Nice hit right there. Monday, 368 with a 7 at 204.85. Good mile an hour too, and the ET to go along with it. I think that takes him number 2 spot.
It moves him into that number 2 spot. He is 600ths now behind Lyle Barnett. So Monday's numbers tell us, and of course Blinko's car was just shaking immediately. The door almost came off the thing. It came unlatched. But when we look at the runs that have gone down a racetrack, the runs that have actually completed the trip, this 9:30 to 9:40 60-foot time window is what we're seeing. We've seen 60-foot times in the 9:20s. That's where the magic of Barnett's run was, that 9:24.60, and they finished the pole. We've seen other 60s that quick, but the power application hasn't let the car finish. The safe runs right now are coming that 9:30 to 9:40 and 60. Scott Taylor on the right-hand side out of Petal, Mississippi.
Scott Taylor just celebrated a birthday this week. Scott Taylor used to own Hub City Dragway.
Hub City Dragway.
Yeah.
Great grudge racing place down there. Mardi Gras race they run down there. A lot of grudge racing at Hub City.
Yeah, a lot of grudge racing down there.
His pace Mustang over here in the left-hand side. You can see, we believe it's Cole Pez in that car. You can see Brandon behind the car, Kimmy Lynn ahead of the car.
Yeah, Cole Pez behind the wheel. It's a brand new car. Brand new to them, maybe. I don't know.
GT 500 style Shelby Mustang body. Oh, put the burst panel out of Pez's car early. Meanwhile, Taylor 366 at 204. And they're starting to creep in on that top half of the 360s now. 366, 204. Taylor goes number 2, and Cole unfortunately put the burst panel out.
I think he's number 1 on the Richter scale right there with that window.
You heard that little poomp out there. Was it knocked the panel out? And you can see Taylor making that top end turn off and the parachute's out.
What a great run by Scott Taylor. You know, they were creeping on it at the Snowbirds. They were creeping up on it. And a great hit right there early on for them.
Just taking a quick check of the left-hand side of the racetrack. Of course, to Brian Crowder. Trip Law Firm side.
Hey, don't forget about our concession stands, folks. Concession stands, they're open right now. Got some great things to eat and drinks. Empanadas, a couple of flavors there. They're handmade. They're really good. I had one, I think, last year. It was really good. And they got hot chocolate. Oh, wait a minute. We got a movie star out there. What is he, kissing babies and signing autographs from Chicago down there in the starting line. Look, our counterpart, Mr. Tucci down there.
Richie glad handing at the starting line.
Yeah, down there kissing babies.
What he's doing is he's going team by team and asking what they're serving for lunch.
Yeah, that's what he's doing.
He's doing critical decision making right now.
He's saying, hey, I'm just saying my shirt size is so-and-so. Just saying.
Just passing it along. So a quick run of the sweeper and the flat drag out here should turn our left lane around and continue on with this session. It'll be Robert Davis and Dmitry Samorukov when we fire cars back up again here. This is the first session of M&M Outlaw Pro Mod presented by Fuel Tech and PJS Racing. Fuel Tech is an international company specialized in developing and manufacturing state-of-the-art performance engine management systems. The company's elite staff always keeping a grip on the technology available in the industry guarantees top-notch quality and constant innovation.
It's all about feel. And this car, I love this car, but not when it hesitates. So I was looking for better performance. That's why I went with an Edelbrock ABS2 carburetor. No hesitation. The Edelbrock warranty. Great throttle response. Now when I punch it, it moves. Edelbrock, charge forward.
We drive performance. We drive passion. A background in drag racing. And a future in all forms of motorsports. Because success in one sport isn't enough. Pushing ourselves to be the best. Climbing every mountain. Topping every peak. Until you see Fuel Tech everywhere.
Blacked out, all blacked out.
So Samarukov's car, one of the few roots blown cars we have seen thus far. Davis with the more traditional screw blower for this rule set. This rule set, I've said it before, I'll say it again, the rule set for these particular races has been for years. As you know, I got all this qualifying information for the last 4 or 5 years. You look at how the fields shake out, the power adders that are involved, and the tightest of the fields. 8th mile distance certainly helps that, but it is an incredibly well-tuned set of rules for this series.
Yeah, just don't ask the racers about it.
It is a screw blower on Samarukov's car.
Yeah, look at that. Oh, 2 full pulls right here. A little bit bit of smoke there for Davis, the left-hand side. He goes 368 with a 4 at 204.5 miles an hour for Davis.
Yeah, that was the best side-by-side we've seen all around so far, and it makes sense because, again, the deeper we work our way into this order, the deeper the results have been for these racers at the Drag Illustrated Winter Series. So both Davis and Samorukov had decent races last time. That moves them up. Their teams have been able to have the benefit of watching cars go out, shake the tires, and or make runs. For Davis, that puts him third in the order right now, and for Dimitri, it puts him ninth, and both of them have workable information for qualifying session 2 later on today.
Look at the surface down there, Brian. Very smooth down there. Look how glazed over that is with rubber, providing a great base for those to light them up. 2 more great Gladiators coming up next.
And look, the work that was done to scrape this thing and turn it around after we ran our index cars this morning, you can see what that does. It began, again, we talk about the foundation of the surface. It reset that. It's now holding on to rubber. There's no peeling issues. There's none of it coming up. And that is going to allow a lot of very consistent runs as Mike Bowman out of Oak Hills, California, a former winner of the Drag Illustrated World Series of Pro Mod. And Chris Giuliano from Iberia, Missouri. The 1967 Mustang with a rear Morrison nitrous power on the right side. 969 inches worth. Once again, just going out there, going to look at the racetrack and touching it up or checking the right lane. There's some belt shredding going on the right side of the racetrack for Dmitry Samarukov's car, just making sure there's no belt debris left. Once again, we have made culinary history here this weekend. Not only empanadas of the pulled pork variety, but the invention of the calzonata. The world didn't know they needed it, and now they got it. This is a empanada with sausage, mozzarella, and marinara sauce.
Yes, please.
Unleash your engine with Adrenaline Racing Oils. 100% PAO-based oil, the Adrenaline R Series is designed to unlock extra horsepower. Free up your engine to perform its best. Top-performing oils with FR3 nanocarbon technology. The same friction reducer used by top racers. Designed for any engine. Lab-formulated, dyno-tested, track-proven. Hot Shot Secret, powered by science.
Tater doing a touch-up between the 3:30 and the 8th mile finish line. Once that's handled, we'll be firing up the next pair of Mike Bowman and Chris Giuliano. So Chris Giuliano, the big nitrous engine, making all that noise over there on the right side of the racetrack, is Mike Bowman. And the very quiet turbocharged 69 Chevelle is marooned out there between the 60 and 330 foot block.
Cruz going down there trying to retrieve. There he goes. He's got it in reverse right here. Like you said, previous World Series of Pro Mod. Did he win the inaugural one?
It was one of the earliest ones they held.
Or was that Carl? One of the other, I don't know.
One of the very early World Series winners, a winner nonetheless on the historical canon of that event.
So I described this Chevelle right here. Al said he heard it on the radio driving in last time, and he just laughed. I said, this looks like if you took a 69 Chevelle and Godzilla stepped on it. That's what it looks like. That thing is just squashed down to the ground. Yeah. Beautiful family Mike has. Great people. Love talking to him and his daughters. Great people. He's a tall one, too. He's probably sitting in the back seat, and his feet are down there near the front wheels.
That's why the roof's pitched up like that. If it was even, he wouldn't be able to fit his helmet in there.
There you go.
And so for Chris Giuliano, you can see the famed Rear and Morrison logo on the hood scoop of the 1967 Mustang. Revs come up now for Bowman.
Here comes the bump. Little blip there for Bowman. It looked like early on. There goes 72 at 216 miles an hour. Is that the highest mile an hour we've seen today?
It's real close if it's not the outright speed so far. Giuliano a 483.5. Things were looking promising for Chris early, and then it went away from him. Yeah, that 216 is big speed of the meet so far. But yeah, the 938 was looking pretty promising, and it got into tire shake a little bit later than we had seen the nitrous cars have that problem. He pedaled it and lifted ultimately at a 483 at 103.77 miles an hour.
Yeah, Giuliano definitely was on a number right there, was going to be in the top half of that easily.
And I think, you know, again, I go back to you credit these teams when you kind of look at the incremental numbers, you look at what they were seemingly trying to accomplish, and that was a very clean 72 for Bowman. The idea of coming out here and just making sure the car gets down the racetrack and then starting to put the screws to it this afternoon. See Jeff Pierce walking around the starting line there, sitting next to Disco Dean Carnes and Manny Bujinga. That's a trifecta. Velez, right-hand side of the racetrack, backing his car up now, the door open. Jimmy Taylor and the former Warbird 1967 Pontiac Firebird. This car has great history, both with nitrous engines in it and with supercharged plants.
A lot of blue ribbons in that car right there. They've won a lot of races that have been won in that Firebird, that Pontiac on the left-hand side.
So the McFarland Racing Lane, housing Velez's car. And Taylor's crew getting that final chassis adjustment made. Crew chief behind the car, making sure it is aligned perfectly straight. These cars do ride the wheelie bars for enough time that if you don't have the car really well aligned, you're going to get yourself in a situation where you got to lift because the thing's outside the groove or heading toward concrete.
Not only do you wheel them, but you got to aim them, right? You got to aim them well. You probably know about that with fuel cars you announce. You got to get them really aimed straight.
Carl Stevens, XRE Power. Taylor's going to get back on and run a 406 at 191.
I think Taylor has rattled some taillight lenses loose or something on that one.
Yeah, there were some body panels or something flying out that thing. 33 cars have made runs so far. If we're qualifying a field, the bump spot officially just turned into an 876.
I'm going to go out on a limb and say that's not going to stand.
I'm gonna say 5 seconds quicker than that ain't making it by the time
Probably
we're done.
not going to last in the next pair going down.
Antron Brown, the 2024 NHRA Top Fuel World Champion, will be rolling into the water box in that 2020 Lexus. And Andrew Handress will be next to him.
Antron had a great outing right here, his first outing at the Snowbirds. That car looked very good. Handress, always strong. Dix Hill's New York car, 69 Camaro, 959 cubic inches of nitrous sipping. Right?
Yeah. Pinky up.
Yeah. Right?
Sipping on
Pinky up, right?
For Antron Brown, this car owned by Manny Bujinga, the former Daniel Ferris Lexus. This car has quite literally traveled the world. After Ferris got done with it, went to the Middle East, and it came back here. So Andrew Handress, the longtime and multiple generation nitrous racing family here out of Dix Hills, New York. One of the final guys that ditched carburetors on the big nitrous motors in Pro Mod to go to fuel injection. And they were still competitive with the carburetors, but they finally looked around. They said, as much as we love these massive giant split dominators, we got to hook a computer to this thing now. Put the screwdrivers away. They went to the more advanced tuning method. And for Antron Brown, really an incredible season for he and his team. 6 victories in Top Fuel last year, and they really came onto their strongest pull during the countdown to the championship, winning 2 of the races, and they did it the hard way. There was just a grinding consistency of that team over the year. He's going to try to do it again this year, but right now his focus through the windshield, that beautiful red Lexus.
Honduras are there spitting out ice on that purge over there. See it falling on the roof like that. Seen it. I left that in North Carolina when I got here on the plane. It's always great when I was doing the TV stuff, standing down there in a 105 degree, and somebody's purging that thing, and that ice comes over and hits me. Like, yeah. So there we go, nitrous in the left-hand side.
Now we're talking. Brown's on a clean pull, 910 to 60 feet, 363.9 at 205 miles an hour, pulling right up on Lyle's bumper. And Handress's car, you can see it was loaded up with fuel, with all that black smoke, but it wasn't making as much power.
Antron goes to the number 2 spot with that 63, 205 miles an hour. What a great hit. Another one puts the field on notice.
That was the quickest 60-foot time of the day so far, 9/10 of a second. 0.910 to 60 feet for Brown, and they made it stick. Raymond Matos out of Puerto Rico coming up on the right side. Isaias Rojas, also of Puerto Rico, on the left side.
Wow, look at those cars. Puerto Rico represented strong right here with this pair.
The Mech Tech team, known throughout Doris Lambert drag racing, a series of cars. They were huge standouts in the import drag racing world, as so many of the hardcore import drag racing efforts out of the island of Puerto Rico. For a small island, they put forth a very strong drag racing effort. And for Raymond Matos, beautiful car. Uh-oh. Rojas has got his ditch to shoe. That sock's not going to be long for the world if he stays in a groove.
That thing is just clinging for life. That sock is. There we go.
Uh-oh. See the sock there?
Yeah, it's starting to get him. This is the part where it might get him right here. If he stands too long, it's coming off. I believe he's there too long. Let's see what's going to happen. He's going to, oh, there we go. Yeah.
Yeah, this is a full-on wardrobe malfunction.
Yeah, if he stays there long enough, he's going to be naked.
And so Raymond Matos and Isaias Rojas get ready to move ahead. I don't know who his crew guy is, but he's officially Shoeless Joe now.
Yeah, he looks like he's got sock puppets on the end of his feet there.
You got 2 guys telling him what to do in a starting line. That's a new strategy. The dual point method.
1 for each eye.
I mean, you're moving the car ahead 6 inches. I don't know how many guys need to point at you. I mean, I don't do this for a living, of course, but I'm guessing. I'll tell you what.
2 more strong ones right there.
For runs like that, he might have 3 guys point at him next time. 64 with an 8, 2:03, 9:18 short time.
They go to the number 3 and the number 4 qualifying order. What strong hits. They're getting faster and faster, Brian.
Don't change anything, including throwing the footwear away, busting up some cotton, and
keep the same socks.
Yeah. Here comes Kevin Rivenbark, the Culp Lumber Company's Silver Mustang.
The River Dog. Zach Sackman, say that name 3 times fast, right? Left-hand side of the Illinois 2018 Camaro. Kind of interesting paint scheme or wrap on the side of that one.
Zach and his brother Matt, standout drag racers in everything they've ever done. They have for years competed with a blown top dragster effort, one of the finest in the country. They have won numerous races at multiple levels, and this Pro Mod car is absolutely gorgeous. Pro charged entry for Zach Sackman out of Chehanan, Illinois, and for Kevin Rivenbark out of Wallace, North Carolina. Culp Lumber, the Shelton Real Estate Agency, as well, sponsoring that car. I didn't know how big the Culp Lumber family operation was. About 100 million board feet a year.
Good people too now, Stan Shelton and those guys.
The trees hate them, but they're good people.
Yeah, the trees hate them, right? Yeah.
Batman on the side of Sackman's car. Yeah. We have shaved a quick 2 seconds off of our bump spot, now down to a still very soft 674. Rivenbark thing starting to eat itself up, goes 367, 208. And you can tell by that little trail of smoke, it was starting to get maybe a piston or something about the back half of that run.
I saw that. It definitely looked like it lost some power down there on the big end. Still, it takes him to number 6 spot with that 67.
When you can finish the run on 7 cylinders and still land 6 right now, that's saying something how stout the car was. For Sackman, the run went away almost instantaneously. He goes 7:14 at 79 miles per hour. Bob Glenn out of Pinellas Park, Florida, the bump spot rider of the 2024 Snowbird Outlaw Nationals. Bob was a number 32 qualifier at 364.7. And Stan Shelton saw his team car go down the racetrack just moments ago.
Bob Glenn sounded, that was a great sounding burnout. I don't know if you listen to that, but man, that sounded really strong. Stan Shelton, right there at the top of there with that Culp Lumber, Shelton Insurance, Real Estate, 67 Mustang with a Noonan power plant. These guys are strong out of New London, North Carolina.
Shelton did not make the cut at the first race of the Drag Illustrated Winter Series. The Snowbird Outlaw National is going to try to reverse course on that. And for Bob Glenn, as we talked about, simply chopping your way in is good, but you don't want to sit on pins and needles all afternoon or all morning tomorrow when final qualifying will take place after a couple of rounds today. Many people know the story. I always like to mention it. The Shelton family came from and does still participate in the world of tractor pulling. So their familiarity with blown alcohol engines, very clear.
Hence the involvement of Rivenbark over there. The Glock guys have always been involved in that as well.
Tractor pulling, a highly underrated motorsport. If you've never actually gone to see a pro-level tractor pull, it is legit.
Those are fun to announce, too. You know why I like them? Because they go like 7 to 10 and that's it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Right? We're done.
You got to show up. You got to. It's like, it would be like a drag race when you qualify and eliminate with one shot. No dice for a pair of Fords as they will slowly coast their way to a finish line. Tires shaking down low for both cars. Both were soft and 60 because of that loss of traction. Now we get the Battle of Mississippi here. Banneker the right side out of Brandon, Mississippi. The S&B Trucking entry, the former Derek Menhold Pro Mod car from Montana years ago. S&B Logistics, B&G Auto Body. Every business has an ampersand in the middle, apparently. Truckworks, Southern States Utility.
Left side, the Mississippi Missile. Jason Scruggs, 2020 Camaro, 520 cubic inches. A supercharged power with a beautiful race car. These are two hitters right here, Brian.
Yeah, it's neither of them were part. Banneker qualified 25th at the last event here. Scruggs did not make the field. I'm not sure he participated, but Scruggs was not part of the elimination program. Billy had a career best season of NHRA Pro Mod Racing, was a guy who finished in the top 10. Had a year of 10 races and 10 different winners in that series. Speaking to the nature of this style of drag racing across the board. 8th mile, quarter mile, pick your sanctioning body. It is wheel to wheel and handle to handle. So for Jason and Mitchell Scruggs, Paul Cartwright's probably down there somewhere. Yep, I see Paul down there.
Wheel stand, that was beautiful.
357.9, 211 miles an hour. Scruggs just dropped a bomb on this place.
There it is. Wow. Look at those numbers down low. Look at that number down low.
They say there's no such thing as a perfect run, but in these conditions, that might have been it. 9:14 short time, 2:42 to the split. Banneker's car didn't actually leave the starting line, so that will count. A 366 at 193 with a 21-second reaction time. Nobody touched the car. He was able to refire it and finish the run. But for Jason Scruggs, that thing got on the wheelie bar early, and it perfectly applied the power, drove into a wheel stand that set down at 330 feet, and he has now leapfrogged the field by half a tenth.
Man, I hope FloRacing's got that one at a good replay because I'd love to see it. That thing looked great from looking from behind. I know looking from down track, it had to be phenomenal.
Good gravy.
What a great run.
Sidney Frigo and Joe Wensley Sr. coming up now as we have now officially gotten our first run in the 350s. In the field, we know Low ET will be quicker than the Snowbirds, will be quicker than the 2023 U.S. Street Nationals, quicker than the 2024 U.S. Street Nationals. The replay there from FloRacing, you saw it on the screen there and on your replay at home, that right there was absolutely phenomenal. Yeah.
Sidney Frigo, left-hand side out of Georgia, 69 Camaro, 526 cubic inches as well. Sidney, always a strong competitor over your world as well, Brian.
Yeah, and this guy's raced top fuel cars, pro mod cars, you name it, he's driven it. Stevie Fast Jackson providing the tune-up for Frigo in the ever-expanding Stevie Fast universe.
Stevie had an interesting snowbird event.
The Racer Tape Company sent him a kickback in the amount of stuff they use on the side of that thing. Joe Wensley Sr. out of Brooklyn, Michigan, home of Michigan International Speedway. Liberty Gears, Menser Motorsports, Wolf Aircraft, Mechanical Heating and Cooling, and DeSoma Racing Engines. Anthony DeSoma providing the power.
That's a strong team over there on the right side. They can throw down some great numbers as well. We just saw the last two, although they left in different days, so to speak, but they made great passes. Let's see if we can continue that with this next pair.
579, the bump spot has plummeted. Stevie Fast, keep an eye on things. Now headed back to the staging lanes in a moment after he watches Sydney's run to get in his own race car. So the Liberty Gears Camaro of Joe Wensley Sr. on the right side. Wensley's car put a cylinder out at the step of the throttle. 366, 1206 for Frigo. Nice solid run for Joel Wensley. Left the starting line with 7 cylinders and it never picked it back up again. So maybe an injector hanging open or something, but it had new combustion in that first cylinder on the left-hand side of the engine.
Sydney goes to the number 6 spot with that hit right there.
Keith Goolsby came up this morning, signed his tech card, PSI blowers, YO Motorsports, Champion Auto Lift. And is this like the Steve King, like the old school Pro Mod Steve King from way back of days of yore?
Another good looking Corvette right there out of Virginia.
Savage. And the amount of pearl in the red stripes on Goolsby's car just looks really spectacular under the sunlight here. When he backs up, the way that red kind of changes color tone under the sun is fantastic. This is exactly the evolution of performance we should be seeing in this field in this first round of qualifying. The cars who threw down with everything they had one race ago are beginning to show that same level of teeth today, and it looks like Goolsby's car might have quit running out there. We got a couple of guys going to push on this thing, and they're about as glued to the racetrack as the car is.
That's a tough task right there.
Here we go.
I think I can, I think I can, I think I can.
Randy Lee was the key element of that scenario. We needed one more weak-minded, strong back down there, and we got it.
Oh, look at Victor. Victor's going out there.
Wes is down there. Vic Alvarez is down there. Looks like the photo of Washington crossing the Potomac. Or the Delaware. I never misnamed a river. Washington crossing the Delaware. He probably crossed the other one too, but the Delaware was the one they painted about. Looks like Steve King's going to make a solo here. They give him the cut sign. I believe they're shot. I believe Goolsby's car is not running. Billy Stockland's on the starting line. As I live and breathe. What the heck's he doing here? How cool is that? Oh, man. King was trying to do a Jason Scruggs impersonation out there. He almost pulled it off. The thing got up there, except when it got on the bars, shook the tires, and sounded like it shook itself out of gear.
Yeah, you know, but he still, with shaking the tires, he still had a pretty nice wheel stand there, shaking the tires.
So they are definitely close on King's car. That was a run that almost made it.
All right, some of my buddies right here, the Decker salvage cars running strong on that East Coast side.
And Kenny Lang on the right side from as far away from Maryland as you can get in the continental part of North America. He is from Alberta, Canada. Lang, a runner in the Pro Modified division for maybe up to 30 years. I'll tell you what, I don't know who that is, but he's about to set human low ET to the 330 out there. Mm-hmm. Okay, that's Decker the third down there.
Is that Hollywood running down there with the Hans device?
That deserves a round of applause, ladies. And let Decker hear it on the way by. That was a performance right there.
Yeah, that was.
In a fire suit, no less. And he's going to run it all the way back to the starting line.
That's youth.
Look at this. It's like the $6 million man down there. All to pick up somebody's head socket. So Grand Point, Alberta, Canada for Kenny Lang. Al Billis tuning.
Mike Decker Jr. on the Woodstock, Maryland, left-hand side, 2017 Camaro.
And listen, if that was Decker the third in the car and Junior saw that, he'd say, I leave it.
Yeah.
I ain't going to get it.
Yeah, just go around it.
Yeah.
Middlesex Metals on board, Maxima Oil, Decker Salvage, West. They got a couple of those. T-Drive, AutoFab, ISI Demolition. He's got his hands in everything. JKR Racing Products as well. Oh, boy, two beautiful passes there. Look at that.
62.5 for Decker, a 62 flat for Lang. The quickest side-by-side we have seen all day, within 5,000ths of each other. Decker was out of the gate first. He gets to the finish line first, but Lang, with that 5,000 advantage, goes to number 2. Decker goes to number 3. Al has officially got his job done down there. He's figured out who's serving lunch where. Glad-handing, shaking babies, kissing people. Yeah, you were shaking babies and kissing hands.
We saw you.
Jeff Rudolph, Cameron Hensley.
Rudolph with one of the coolest names of a car, I think, there is a ghetto sleigh. I've always liked that. And we hope the Airman guy is going to be here this weekend. I'm sure he will be. Out of Brownsburg, 69 Camaro left-hand. Sailor Jerry, Pro Line, a Pro Charge M&M transmission on board there, left-hand lane.
Cameron Hensley in the car. We normally see Jason Lee in this race car. Jason unable to get in the seat, fighting through some medical issues. We're certainly thinking of Jason and everybody. Eric Gustus in the car, owner of this Coast Packing Company Pro Charged 69 Camaro. PTP Racing, Lions Custom Motorsports, Noonan Race Engineering Engine, All Tech, Hoosier Tire, Quick Drive, and Liberty's Gears, and Jeff Rudolph. Sailor Jerry Rum's a sponsor. How about that?
Right? I love watching that.
When their advertising campaign, no, that was another company. There was one company that was advertising on the radio that they were designed for day drinking. I said, all right, that's a bold strategy. Let's get right after it.
Ghetto sleigh.
Rudolph's car ran turbos for years, and its signature was massive speed. I remember him running like 220 mile an hour down here. Yeah, it was nuts.
Look at this crew guy down there with that big old stogie hanging out of his mouth. That's a Al likes cigars.
The newly wedded Jeff Rudolph. All right. Let's go to Florida for the honeymoon. It's going to be beautiful, I promise. We won't go to the racetrack for the first 3 days. It's what it's supposed to look like. 60 flat with a 4 for Jeff Rudolph at 205 miles an hour. Hensley right behind him at a 363.
Two more great side-by-side races right there. How about Rudolph goes to number 2 with that 6-0 with a 4.
Crack the top half of the field. You're going to be better than 369 right now. But, man, beautiful run by Rudolph. And speed-wise, the 205 was a touch down, right? And there's still a little bit more speed to be had there. But, man, the 360, efficiency in action. Here comes Stevie Fast Jackson out of Evans, Georgia. Chip King out of Roxborough, North Carolina, the DreamWorks Motorsports 1970 Charger. The high-riding blower hat for Jackson, same as we saw in Alex Laughlin's car. Phil Schuler, who was named as the co-crew chief on Matt Hagan's Nitro Funny Car for the 2025 seasons, is working with, as he has for so many years, Stevie Fast Jackson. And for Chip King across the racetrack, he brings that big Mopar forward. So Stevie Fast and Chip King are in. All right, Stevie's going to make a pull here. And Jackson goes 362 at 207.
62 with a 0 at 207 takes him way on up there. Where is he at?
62 is going to put him in that top 8 zone. He goes into the number 4 spot. Here comes Craig Sullivan, the Winlight Bets, IHRA sponsored 49 Mercury. And Matt Deesh out of Patchogue, New York, the 1969 Camaro. Nitrous car with the Yanko stripes.
Brian, Matt Deesh right here, he can run a low number. This car has been really low. He's surprised us all in last qualifying in the Snowbirds. Left-hand side, Craig Sullivan. This car is pushing so much air that he is breaking off titanium front-end fasteners almost on every run right here. We're looking at the aerodynamics. He said it's got the aerodynamics the front end does of like a 4x8 piece of plywood.
Yeah.
And this car is 8 inches wider at the front end than a first-gen Camaro.
Yeah, and frontal area, when we talk about frontal area in a race car, you're talking about the entirety of the nose of the thing. So when we just saw Chip King's car run, how it has that nicely sloped and kind of very tightened up nose versus this thing that is just absolutely blunt force trauma.
And we'll still go a low 60 or better, I don't know, but
yeah,
this car is really fast.
Matt Deesh, Craig Sullivan.
Watch the front end on Craig Sullivan's car as he carries it on down there. Goes 363 with a 6 at 199.
363 with a 6, and he was out of the throttle early. That scrubbed a bunch of speed off the front of it, and the nose came down. Might have put a panel out very late in the run, but a great lick there for Sullivan to start things up. The number 8 spot for Matt Deesh. This is where we start talking about the toughness of this field. Deesh goes to 67. He lands 16th right now, but that 363 is very, very nice to start the day with. Ty Tutterow and Jay Cox coming up next. And Jay Cox made himself a nice statement when he came out here, coming back into Pro Mod drag racing here at the Snowbird Outlaw Nationals. Another look on our Flow replay. Watch Craig Sullivan's car left side. Front end's up. It dips the nose just before the finish line. Maybe a little wisp of something there. I think he put the panel out. But a brilliant run.
You know, Brian, you just mentioned it, but I was impressed at the Snowbird last race. And in one round of eliminations, I think it was, Jay Cox was in this lane, the left-hand side. And in staging it, he's staging a twin-turbo car, and his all his experience is in Pro Nitrous. But you know how they bump in and it rolls back out. He immediately got on it really quick, like a seasoned, stager of a twin turbocharged car.
Yeah, it's like you have racer instincts or you don't, right? And that's a guy like Jay Cox making the transition, power adders, and procedurally. It's one thing to make the power a different way, but as you mentioned, like the actual procedure of making sure you do this the right way to complete a run, totally different. And when you're faced with those challenges in the moment, you either have the instincts to do it right or you fold up like a wet paper bag.
Well, he's an athlete. I've said this before. He came through the Colorado Rockies organization, so very talented over there, and he could definitely drive a race car. Ty Tutterow, another North Carolina native over there, and who doesn't recognize that Tutterow name? And King Tut, he's back there behind the car somewhere. I imagine there he is, right behind the car. So 2 strong teams right here representing North Carolina. Rick Jones' car on the right-hand side with the twin turbocharged.
Jay Cox, the number 18 qualifier last race, ran 3:62.6 to grab that spot. Yeah, the speed, the car went, how about, yeah. Clean and mean for Tutterow, 3:62.2, 209 miles an hour as Jay Cox's car got off to a kind of a tardy start, a 3:66, 60-foot time, moved to the right, he clicked her out.
Good hit right there for Tutterow. Takes him number 5 spot early on. Another one of those strong teams. As they throw a number down really early, man, it's going to get faster and faster.
The running man himself, Mike Decker III, coming up next. Had him hooked to an O2 bottle back there to get his pulse rate and ox rate correct, ox levels correct. And double E. Eric Anders, Winterwood, Oklahoma, by way of Houston, Texas, the 6-time Pro Stock champion of the world. The Elite Motorsports Camp, Pro Charge Power. Eric Anders qualified 8th last race, went 3:61.1. Decker III qualified 6th at 3:6.05.
Mike Decker III, this is Hollywood right here left-hand side out of Windsor Mill, Maryland. 2023 body style, beautiful car. Decker's Salvage West is on board of that one. They got them north and west out there. Tie Drive, Auto Fab race cars, Maxima Racing Oils, ISO Demolition, ISI Demolition, JKR Racing Products, and Middlesex Metals. Hollywood, very strong competitor over there left-hand side.
It's like you wonder why the Decker family is calm and mentally stable. They own a couple of wrecking yards and a demolition company. When you get the frustrations out by crushing things and knocking them down, it's very healthy.
Yeah, crush it up.
Ladies and gentlemen, for one evening only, live from Las Vegas.
Keep your rain checks.
Alan Tucci.
Thank Alan.
All right.
Hey, man, Sonny Red. Yeah, get the old bass going, baby. Thank you very much to Steve and...
and your name is?
What? And Brian Loans, thank you. As they get those down, Eric Anders, look at the wheel stand by Decker, man. That was a power wheelie into the high gear change. 360. 210 miles per hour. What happened to the young lady in the right lane?
Tire shake, like it's gotten so many others. Erica goes at 7:31.8 at 50 mile an hour. Yeah, beautiful shot for Decker. Goes to the number 2 spot behind Scruggs. Still, the 357 of Jason Scruggs still has a couple of hundy on the field.
Well, we're in the second points chase for our wonderful Radial Outlaws category, and we need Ultra Street. We need the first 4 pairs: Sean Pevler, Dave Fiskus, Walter Drakeford, Jason Spina, Ray Cox, Jesse Coulter, Brian Keep, and Davey Hall. Anyway, so the first 4 pair of Ultra Street to the lanes, please. First 4 pair.
Here he comes, man, the Carolina kid, Travis Harvey. Steve, as you mentioned, went through a period of about 6 weeks last year that he was unstoppable, untouchable, the highest earning man in the sport of drag racing.
Jericho Baldoff, left-hand side, Edgewater, Florida. Another 69 should Chevelle body style, 521 cubic inches. Extreme concrete. Spark plugs. Dirty Pig detail. How about that with name? Stewart Performance on board.
You know, and again, we talk about drivers that are multifaceted. Again, understanding the difference of the nuances of a small tire car to a big tire car, succeeding in both, running pro-charged cars, turbocharged cars, in this case a screw-blown entry for Harvey. Truly is the human kind of Swiss Army knife as far as drag race drivers go.
Yeah, you know, a lot of people don't know, but announced a lot in the South. He does a lot of bracket racing as well.
Yeah, that's a great point. I mean, the guy will actually go and compete for big money on that level as well. Jericho Baldwin, always an impressive runner, always a hard-charging machine. They qualified 23rd at the Snowbirds, generated a best of 363.8 at just over 207 miles an hour.
I thought it was neat. I saw a couple of Calcuttas out there. Different people were buying, you know, different racers. And Travis was the first one I saw that bought himself. So, yeah, I mean, on me.
Hey, if you can't bet on yourself, who can you bet on, right?
Oh, Travis on one right there. Woo!
360 flat, 211.73 miles an hour. Nice 923 short time. Got to the split 2.439 seconds and another 360. We got a logjam of cars that are in that spot now. Actually with a 4. How about Decker, Rudolph, and now that machine? So there are 3 cars that have run 60 and change. Scruggs still the only 350 car to property. Cars that have run 360. Harvey did it flat, 360 with a 4 for Decker and Rudolph. The halfway field, top half of the field cut right now is 366. The 32 car bump spot has already dropped to 382. Oh yeah. Going to drop harder than a Chicago beef sandwich on a Wednesday lunch hour for Al Tucci. 2023 World Series of Pro Mod champion Spencer Hyde out of Stratford, Ontario, Canada. Made big news this offseason. Is going to assume the role of the driver of Jim Head's Nitro Funny car this season.
Wow, how about that, right? This kid can drive it, right? He's a great person, great driver. Look at this matchup of this pair. Really strong hitters.
Melanie Salemi out of Buffalo, New York, backing up that 1968 Pontiac Firebird. A trailblazer among female racers in the world of door car drag racing. Melanie Salemi, the Al Lee Installation sponsored car, continues to be a force to be reckoned with wherever they show up, whether it's the PDRA series or at events like this one down here at the Winter Series at Bradenton.
Qualified number 3, I believe, in our Snowbird, right?
Went 59.9.
Yeah, 59. One of the handful of cars that went at 50. I think we're going to break that record with this event.
And for Spencer Hyde, he made the field running 363. The year that he won the World Series of Pro Mod, remember he clawed his way in the last session, made it down the racetrack, was the number 32 car on the sheet, and then systematically over 5 rounds chopped them all down.
Yeah, at the Snowbirds, I thought I was going to get Al on some trivia right here with the Jack and the Beanstalk, where that name came from, and I was all proud. I was getting ready to reel it off, and I said, let me tell you about that, and then he just reeled it.
Can't put anything past this guy. Both cars in pre-stage. In goes Spencer, and here comes Melanie. No dice for Spencer Hyde. For Melanie, some dice. 360, 3.7, 206 miles an hour.
60 foot, good there. Melody going down low. She was on a number. Spencer with issues right there at the head. That thing coast down there. Not sure what happened with his car.
Yeah, I don't know if it shut itself off or if he did shut it off. I'm guessing by shaking could have shaken an ignition wire or something off it at that point, because it did check the tires leaving the starting line. Yeah, down to the final 4 cars of qualifying session 1. If we get one more look here, the replay, if you're watching at home, you saw that nice little move. Melanie did a nice job driving that car, made a move as they tend to do. Probably the torque converter locking up, kind of sends the car squirting left to right. She did a nice job to keep a handle on it. Big thanks to Fuel Tech and PJS Racing as the presenting sponsors of M&M Transmission, Outlaw Pro Mod, of course, PJS Racing from down in Texas, an engine building outfit that can build some of the highest horsepower stuff you can imagine into the multiple 1,000 horsepower range, can build you incredible racing engines at every level. You can check them out for your race engine needs. Who has been the #1 qualifier at a couple of these guys now. Mark Mickey of Jefferson City, Missouri, the proprietor of M&M Transmission. His Hart's turbocharged. Mayberry Motorsports, Rick Jones chassised Camaro.
Hart's really making a name right here in the Pro Mod Racing. Glad to see him. Great people over there, Hart.
Kurt Stedding of Carnegie, Pennsylvania. The P2 contracting machine. P2 Racing, Tie Drive, YO Motorsports. Robert Abbott Oranges, P2 Paving, and Quick Fuel, the sponsors for Kurt Stedding. Mickey's car is definitely one we've all been waiting on to see here in this first qualifying session. Its capabilities of being able to run over 220 miles an hour, certainly very well known throughout this racetrack and throughout the pits and the world of Pro Mod drag racing.
Probably going to see one of the two make a strong hit right here, maybe both of them. We hope to see both of them with a side-by-side pass, but at least one I'm thinking will probably get in that, crack that top 5 or more.
The benefit that Stedding has is that Ty Tutterow ran a 362.2, and these cars are basically set up to be identical. So being able to understand that 362.2 worked, Todd may be able to lean on Stedding's car maybe a little bit harder than he otherwise would have, or maybe make a tweak, or you have it set up to also run 62 and build off it next round. $359.1 for Mark Mickey here last year. $359.1 for Mark Mickey just a month ago at the Snowbirds. Car won 218.87 on that run at the Snowbirds in qualifying.
Four cars left in this first round. 4 cars left.
Mickey's car in the back half of the racetrack. 359.9 at 219 miles per hour. Stedding goes 361.1 at 209, but Mark Mickey joins Jason Scruggs in the 350s, and he does so with a big speed of the meet by a ton.
219 miles an hour to number 2 spot. Stedding goes to the number 6 spot.
Kai Kelly and Ken Curtuccio 8-inch wheelbase, heartbreaker, head cracker, soul stealer from the Snowbird Outlaw National just a month ago as Kelly backs his way up. This is effectively a rerun, if you will, of the final round of that race.
That's right. Rewind and let them hang right here. And both cars in that final were going to run a 50. Of course, Guy Kelly did. Right-hand side, Ken was on a 50 run as well. Had to blip it just a little bit, but it was strong.
Jeff Pierce is down there as he was in the same position a month ago, talking to his driver through the headset, aligning the car in the starting line. Ken Curtuccio has Jamie Miller on his side of the racetrack. Curtuccio hailing from Fairfield, Connecticut. He is in the trucking business, hauling cars. Kai Kelly is in the drag racing business. And that victory down here in December was one that certainly lit up the internet and everything else in the world of drag racing when it happened. You can talk about the construction of the body of the car, but if you do that, you're missing the point. It was the mastery of that very short wheelbase. The engine placement in these cars, different, of course, as they're set up for no-prep style drag racing, and Jeff Pierce took what other people would think was a handicap and turned it into an advantage for himself. And so Kelly and Curtuccio, both screw-blown engines of 521 cubic inches. Where does Kai Kelly land after qualifying session 1? He is going to put himself in a good position. Curtuccio goes 357.2, 211 miles an hour.
Kai Kelly with a strong hit with a 60 right there. Another great light doing what Kai Kelly does. Goes 209 miles an hour, the number 5 spot. But you called it. Ken goes to number 1.
He ran around the outside of Scruggs by 7 thousandths. And there you have it, the top half of the field. The split right now, you got to be 363 or better to make the top half of the field. After final qualifying at the Snowbirds, you had to be 362.5 to get there. We've basically gotten there in one session so far. We'll go through some more of that qualifying data in a moment. Al Tucci's got more news for you.
All right, we need the next 4 for Ultra Street. To the lanes, please. Ultra Street, we need Steve Romeo, Haley James, Chuck Bartholomew, Bill Travato, Jimmy Curtis, Keith Siborowski, Kevin Robinson, and Mark Brown. To the lanes. Next 4 on the list for Ultra Street. To the lanes, please. All right, so we need those next 4. So the top 8 in Ultra Street should be in the lanes, getting ready for first round of qualifying.